The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, this is in fact the aftermath of Naoya Inoue beating up on Marlon Tapales, and I had a chance to go back and rewatch that today. So I'll be giving you guys more of my calm thoughts on the fight because during the lives are always kind of crazy, but nonetheless. Got me here. You guys know who this is. It's the one, it's the only. It's Pops.
Welcome to the show, Fire Away.
So, yeah, man, shout out to everybody who's here. I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas. If you're in the UK, I hope you have a happy belated Boxing Day. And I hope everybody's safe as we get closer and closer towards the new year. There's not like a ton going on as far as boxing is concerned. We do got Kuzuro Ioka versus Jasper Perez, but that's like on Japanese television, so you gotta get a VPN, and that's a whole process to watch that. So I'm gonna try to watch that. I won't go live for it, but I'm gonna try to watch it and have a nice little post-fight review video for you guys for that fight. But yeah, no real fights in boxing till January, I think 7th, when Virgil Ortiz fights his first fight at 54. So until then, we're going to make the time pass, talk about this fight, talk about other stuff. There's more videos coming out on the channel that I didn't get to from weeks ago. A lot of interviews coming out as well. So definitely exciting times in boxing and definitely exciting times here on True School Sports. But before we get into Naoya Inoue, let me say the pronunciation right, because this is one dude who sent me like an eight paragraph email about not pronouncing his name right. But Naoya Inoue. Let's talk about him. We'll talk about him in a second, but I want to acknowledge the fine folks that are here. Shout out to all 15 of you that are here. Make sure you smash that like button. We got, see who we got. We got my man Shane Simmons in the building. He says, such a good fight from both fighters. Yes, they both definitely put on a great show for the fans. Jesus Sem in the building says, saludos to BT. Yes, sir. Saludos to Jesus Sem. Eddie Morales, one of my favorite people. Out of all my viewers, he's like top 10. If I had a top 10 True School like viewer pound list, Eddie would be like pretty high, top five for sure. Yeah. He says, got the snacks and drinks ready. I'm set for another live. That's right, Eddie. Good to see you as always. We got David Esther in the building. Shout out to David Esther. And yeah, so there you go. We acknowledge the fine folks. We shook some hands. We kissed some babies, proverbial babies. Let's jump right into it. I don't want to waste too much time. All right, because we do have some things to tend to, but I want to talk about this, right? Because I did go back and I did watch the fight today, and when I was watching the live, I think I was trying to give Marlon Tapales as many rounds as I could, just because he's the underdog, and Inoue set such a high standard for himself that I even think sometimes when you watch his fights, you're looking at what the opponent does, and sometimes you may look to give him the opponent rounds just for having a moment or two. Because I went back and I watched that fight today. And I tell you, it was frustrating to watch. It was actually a frustrating fight to go back and watch, because I actually went back and I gave Marlon one round. I thought Marlon won the 5th round. All right, and I took notes, so I wanted to kind of go through my notes with you guys from what I got from rewatching the fight, and kind of just dissect what happened. Right, so I'm gonna read my notes off to you guys. I think we're on screen share. Are we on screen share? We are on screen share. Good. So look. These are my notes, my round by round notes that I wanted to kind of go through with you guys and kind of talk about. So the fight started off right. Naoya Inoue was very patient in the first 2 rounds, and he was outlanding Marlon like it wasn't anything like he wasn't landing like anything like crazy explosive, but he was scoring a lot of scoring punches. Marlon did a really good job, especially early in the fight, of keeping a nice tight guard. And Inoue had to throw a lot of punches to open him up. And because of that, I think because of Marlon's tight guard, I think this allowed Marlon to kind of settle into the fight. But it didn't allow Inoue to get into his normal rhythm. It took Inoue a bit more time to get into like his normal rhythm that we're accustomed to. He had to be very, very patient. And patient as far as like changing the guards, the position of his hands, the types of jabs he was throwing. All right. Then we go to the 3rd round. I thought Inoue won the first 2 rounds. We go to the 3rd round. Inoue barely won the 3rd round, but when Marlon, the one time in the round, Marlon kind of cut the ring off on him and put him in the corner, I thought Inoue kind of freaked out a bit, and he started doing these Roy Jones Jr. like feints to get out the corner. And I did see a little bit of like uncomfortable, uncomfortable demeanor to Inoue briefly, just very briefly in that 3rd round when he was fighting off that back foot. Marlon was able in that round to box and turn him in spots. So sometimes Inoue would throw a straight right hand and Marlon would roll or slip past it, and he would turn him and hold his ground in the center of the ring. The problem is Marlon did that, but Marlon just wouldn't throw enough. So like a lot of times in these rounds, he's doing good things, but his lack of volume was costing him a lot of these rounds. And that's the one thing Inoue did really good. Inoue would keep that jab in his face constantly, dig to the body with the right hand. And then you go to round 4, which another round where I got pissed off watching Marlon, because Marlon's defense was real leaky in this round. He refused to throw, but this is also a round where I thought Marlon, when he closed the gap, he was digging the Inoue body really well, and he even managed to back him up. But the Inoue volume jab constantly in Marlon's face, and the combination punching it led to eventually the first knockdown of the fight. And one observation I made about Inoue is even when he was losing the exchanges in that 4th round at times, if he lost a moment of the exchange, okay, cool. He immediately does what he can to get the fight back to the center of the ring where he feels the most comfortable.
Right.
So that showed a lot, I think, of ring IQ and ring awareness from the monster, right? So then you go to round 5. Now, round 5, this is actually the only round I gave Marlon, was round 5.
Right.
This is the round where Marlon sat in the pocket. That was that round where he threw that big uppercut that hit Inoue. But again, Marlon's leaky defense, it allowed Inoue back into the round, and it made the round closer than it should have been, because Marlon did everything right that round.
Yeah.
It's just that a defensive lapse here, a defensive lapse there, and Inoue's landing 2 or 3 punches, and it was a swing round. Even though I'm giving him is a swing round, but I thought he landed the bigger shots that round, so that's why I gave it to him. But even if I didn't give him that round, I could see why people gave that round to Inoue, because it was pretty close. All right, now round 6 and 7. Marlon was doing a lot of posturing, couldn't find the range with his jab. This is where Inoue, I really feel like around this time, this is where Inoue got Marlon's punching range down, because anytime Marlon would throw, his jabs always seemed to fall an inch or half an inch short, and Inoue was right there in the pocket, right? Inoue did a great job in these rounds of landing effective counters and spots. He had a lot more measured approach around this time in the fight. And then, again, Marlon would have moments where I'd watch him. He'd be boxing and turning Inoue, sometimes making a miss with that nice tight guard, but he just would not throw enough, and it was pissing me off. It was pissing me off watching the fight back. And then round 8, another frustrating round. This is one of the rounds I thought Marlon could have won. I thought up until the last minute, Marlon was boxing and turning Inoue defensively as well as he did the entire fight. But then again, he undoes all of his work by not throwing any punches. Like he would have 15, 20 seconds where he's not throwing no punches. And then Inoue would just wait for him to defensively maneuver himself into a bad defensive position and just counter him. Yeah. And he was getting hit with the biggest shots of the round. So I thought I gave Inoue round 8. And then to end the fight, this is when Marlon also put his foot in his ass. Round 9 and 10. This is the round where Marlon starts throwing the left hand, and when he's throwing the left hand, he's literally throwing himself into a square position. He's literally throwing himself from the southpaw stance right into a square position, and he's not even realizing it. And Inoue didn't make any crazy adjustment like in round 9 and 9, 10. All he did literally was just shorten his right hand.
Right.
So Marlon kept throwing this black-ass straight left hand the whole 9 and 10th round. And then eventually Inoue actually wound up catching Marlon. It wasn't even with a full right hand, but it did enough to – because his legs – I think Marlon's legs from just the body shots earlier in the fight and just the mental pressure that Inoue put on him, they were starting to give out. And then Inoue hits Marlon with that straight right hand, and Marlon couldn't go no more.
Yeah. He
beat the fight out of Marlon. It was death by 1,000 blows. So when I was watching the live – I mean, I didn't think Marlon was winning the fight because some of the, and I gotta say this, right? And I'm gonna let you talk. I know I'm running my mouth a lot.
You're doing good. Tell him, you're the expert.
I know I'm running my mouth a lot, but I know when I was watching the live, when I was watching the live, I didn't think Marlon was winning the fight. Some people were like, "Oh, how are you saying Marlon is winning the fight?" I didn't think Marlon was winning the fight. I thought Marlon won at least. When I watched the fight, I thought Marlon won 3 rounds. Okay. When I watched it back, he won 1 round, and there were 2 rounds where had he done some things a little bit better, he probably could have won those rounds. So I don't think 3 rounds was too crazy, but that's if you're being like really, really generous. I was being very generous to Marlon because that's the thing. And this happens with the great fighters like the Mayweathers, the Roman Gonzalez's, the Pacquiaos, the Terrence Crawfords, and obviously the Inoues. When guys reach a certain level of greatness, sometimes they can be a victim of their own success to where like you start watching to see if their opponent's having any moments of success. And if their opponents have any sort of success, if their opponents have any sort of like, if they're just doing good things in the ring, you might be inclined to give them some rounds. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I was doing that a little bit for Marlon. So when I watched it back today with no emotions, with no, Inoue fanboys, my comment section trying to influence my opinion, the conclusion I came to was that Marlon did some good work. Marlon is a very good fighter. He was very tough. I think I give Marlon a lot of credit because with the way the fight was going for him, he could have packed it in and tried to survive. He didn't fight in a minute to try to survive. So even in a loss, I think even in a loss where the fight wasn't exactly close, I think Marlon's stock should go up. But
good account of himself.
Gave a good account of himself. I just wish that like Marlon wasn't such a straight line fighter, because that's the thing with Inoue, is if you're a straight line fighter like a Marlon was in this fight, or like Paul Butler or something like that, then you're not going to really have much of a chance, because Inoue's got such a sharp. He's got some of the sharpest straight punches in the business. So you're gonna have to beat Inoue. You're gonna have to be a fighter who, I think has some size on him and also can give him some angles. And Marlon just didn't have enough of that in this fight, and it showed. So in watching it again, I will hold myself. I do think Marlon did some good things, but Inoue won most of the rounds. But there were some things I see that could trouble Inoue when he moves up. But as far as this weight class, 122. I don't see him losing to nobody. I mean, they're talking about him fighting Merjon, Sam Goodman, these kind of guys. I don't see where those guys have much of a chance, to be telling you the truth. So that's my assessment. I just watched the fight. I just rewatched the fight like literally like 2 hours ago. So wow. That's my honest assessment. Now that my emotions have been put in check, I made sure I watched it with the sound off, because I didn't want ESPN and their biased commentary that wasn't giving Marlon Tapales any credit for some of the work he was doing. I didn't want them to skew my. So I had that shit on mute, and I just watched very intently what both guys are doing. And Marlon did some good things in spots, but ultimately, Naoya Inoue boxing IQ was on display this fight.
Yeah, and I will say, to go along with that, I think I'm going to say what BT said. A lot of you subscribers actually called it out. Sometimes when you're watching it live, you just see what you see with your eyes at that moment, and you seem to think that that's a punch of the camera. Show that was a better punch from the opponent or whatever, and you felt that way. I felt that. Tapales did more than what I thought he did, but as you can see, what I like when Brendan does his reviews, he actually literally focuses on it, and he gave a good assumption. So a lot of you guys weren't wrong what you were saying, but at that point in time when you were asking us in the live, I thought that Tapales did more than that, but eventually he didn't. And we got to give credit. I always say champions got to figure it out, and eventually. I still felt that Inoue was getting frustrated early in the fight. He looked frustrated.
We'll touch on that later on.
Okay,
I mean, I think too. Like I told you, because Marlon was doing some good things in their boxing and turning Inoue. Inoue didn't get to do the normal come forward, throw 4 or 5 punches in a demolition job type of. I mean, he had to be a lot more patient, a lot more measured, a lot more tactful in this fight. So he did expend a lot of mental energy trying to get to Marlon. But Marlon just didn't throw the volume that he needed to win more of these rounds. So that's what I got when I went ahead and when I rewatched it. So yeah. You want to add?
Yeah. I just think I'm gonna go with what you say. A lot of times I come in here and I watch Brendan watch not just only this fight, other fights the same way. He'll sit back for hours and watch the same fight over and over, and he'll actually take notes. Probably more notes he took here than he did in school. To tell you the
truth. True. That's true. Because in school I wasn't taking none of these notes.
But when it comes to this fighting boxing,
yeah,
that man's taking the angles, everything. So it's an honest opinion, and shout out to the Inoue. What I like about Inoue, in the end, he made adjustment, knew where to set up Tapales, and took him out like he was supposed to.
No, 1,000%. David S. Before I get to the next point, because there are some things with Inoue and Tapales that I do want to run through. David says, yeah, the sound effects of the punches from each guy sounded different, which is crazy because Marlon had a lot of pop too. Marlon, I would say, is definitely one of the hardest punchers Inoue's ever fought. I mean, Donaire, I probably said Donaire probably number 1, but then after that, Tapales is definitely sliding in at number 2, and he was able to roll the punches really well and do his thing. So I give the monster credit.
And the monster came out. I mean, it was. I don't know if he was just giving him props just because he was on TV or whatever, or the Japanese culture. But he came out and when he came out and said that was one of his hardest fights. I don't think he would just come out and just say that.
Yeah. So he said it himself. Larry Listen says Abdul Wahid is my power number 1.
You ain't know that.
You mean Javante Davis? Javante Davis.
Yeah. Shout out to him.
Round 8 is Tapales' best round. It's one of the 2 rounds you can actually give him. Round 8 and round 5. Round 5 I thought was a better round because he landed his best shots to me in round 5. That was the uppercut, the hook, all those things. So yeah. Inoue is number 2 for me. I can't give him number 1 for fighting nobodies. Okay. Let's not even acknowledge that's foolishness. If you're one of those people that says Naoya Inoue fought nobodies, I'm just gonna glance of your comment and not even give you any of the time of day because what you're telling me is you don't know much about boxing. That's the truth. Inoue dropped him in the second round. Tapales overextended. Yeah. There's a ringside view of the fight where you can see a better view of a lot of the punches Inoue landed. Yeah, I have to check that one out. I just rewatched the best version I could find of the broadcast and watched it without the sound. Tapales did way better than Fulton though. I mean, they both won about the same amount of rounds, but in terms of the way he fought the fight, I think yes, he fought the fight in a more exciting fashion. So I can see what you're saying, but they both got their ass whooped. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. They both got their ass whooped.
It was the same outcome either way.
Same outcome. Props to Marlon. He went out uninsured, and that's the thing. That's why Marlon will get more credit than Fulton because Fulton, he didn't really try to do that. He once he got hit by a certain amount of punches, that was it. And he got absolutely styled on. Like, it was taunting him. He was doing he was treating him like he was Paul Butler at times. So yeah, that's where the respect factor comes in.
Yeah, you see, like I said, the thing about Tapales, and for me, like I see it throughout the fight. I don't know if the subscribers seen it. For me, I kind of thought that Inoue was having a difficult time to figure Tapales out in early rounds, whether he was winning rounds or not. He had to put the recipe together to get that food going and get it done right, and he definitely did.
Yeah, shout out to Dundada. He says Inoue made a great adjustment to double up the right hand when Tapales started the shoulder roll. Yeah, Tapales started. He started doing the little shoulder roll and Inoue doubled up the right hand, and then he even started disguising the right hand and changing the angle in which he was throwing it. And he made that a lot less predictable as the fight went on, and that's why this fight, in a sense, was kind of like death by 1,000 blows. Now, for me personally, like being a guy who's followed Inoue since most of his career, like it was a cool fight. I could appreciate the way he went about breaking down Marlon Tapales. It was cool. But I like them fights with Naoya Inoue. He's knocking people out. So it's not my favorite performance by him, but it was a very good performance.
I think if you could push him back, if you could push Inoue back, you can see he has trouble coming. Like if you're pushing him back, like Tapales was trying to do, and not letting him allow him to come forward, I think it caused a little problem for Inoue, in my own opinion.
Neri had the fight of the year, but Asal Venetian, he's always entertaining fights. Not sure if his defense can hold up against Inoue as he tends to get hit a lot, but he's tough as nails. Yeah, he is tough as nails, and I'm looking very forward to seeing how that's gonna go. But listen, man, we got an action-packed show for you guys today. A lot of stuff to talk about, right? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about it. I'm gonna go back to the screen. Let me see. Let me make sure my tweets in order. Where is it?
You hit the likes, guys. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Okay, I got it. So look. So next point of contention with Inoue, right? Because they're talking about him fighting everywhere. They say F Japan. They say he can fight in Japan, but we're doing it big now with Inoue. Like Hideki Ohashi, his promoter, the former champion himself. Mm-hmm. This is what he's saying, and it's not anything we haven't heard before, but I got to reiterate it because this is what he said. So as you guys can see on the screen, Hideki Ohashi has told reporters that their plan is for Inoue to fight 3 times to 124, and the 3 opponents are, Luis Neri, who we've heard a lot about. There's speculation about what could happen with Neri, because they're saying now that supposedly the Japanese Boxing Commission is considering lifting his ban so they could fight in Japan. Mm-hmm. So then he wouldn't have. So the Inoue wouldn't have to come to the States, which I don't like that, to be honest with you. I'd rather Inoue just come to the States and just for once, not for once. I'm saying yet. He hasn't really fought in America in front of a crowd in a long time, because Das Marinas and I think Maloney, if I'm not mistaken, I think both the fights were in the bubble, or at least one of them was in the bubble. Mm-hmm. He hasn't really fought in front of the American audience too many times. So I would like him to come to like LA, because I've been wanting Top Rank ever since they signed Inoue to come to LA. I think it makes a lot of sense now with Otani being with the Dodgers and whatnot, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, another popular Japanese player, being with the Dodgers. put them ringside, do some sort of Inoue Otani thing, and boom, Inoue gonna be a bigger.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Brandon. Looking at that list right now, I'm a blind motherfucker.
Yeah, talk to him. Tell him how you really feel.
I'm a blind. I can't see shit.
What do you think about Inoue versus Neri, Merjan, Akhmadaliev, and Casemiro?
I'll be honest.
You always wanted to see Casemiro. You used to think Casemiro could beat Inoue.
No, that was back in the day. I don't.
3 years ago.
Yeah, Casemiro's got issues or whatever. Hasn't been disciplined. Crazy shit. And Moran, the only guy actually there that's a legitimate fight.
Neri?
That's it. Everything, the A and B are fucking they're worse than gumball fighters.
Damn.
I mean, there's no reason. I don't know if we just is that because that's all they have left in the division to fight, or
well, first of all, it's not all they have in the division because I'll tell you right now, people may not like it, maybe they will. If you're telling me about Casemiro, Akhmadaliev, screw both of them. I rather Inoue fight like an Elijah Pierce or something like that.
Yeah, because
that's a better fight than like a Casemiro or Akhmadaliev. First of all, I'll say it again. I made a separate video about this earlier today that I haven't posted yet, but I'll say it here on the live. Merjan doesn't deserve anything. Merjan literally refused to fight Stephen Fulton for Undisputed. Then he filed a medical exemption for his hand, and what he should have did after he filed the exemption after the Ronnie Rios fight, which is negotiate the Fulton fight, but he didn't do that. Yeah. He decided to fight Tapales, who was his mandatory, and then I remember the week of the fight, he was talking about, I want to fight Inoue after this fight, and then he lost to Tapales. So he doesn't deserve anything because Merjan was a dishonorable champion. And truth be told, and I want to say it here because I said it in my video, which I haven't uploaded yet, I haven't posted it yet, but I'll say it here. A lot of people in boxing have this obsession with Eastern European and Central Asian fighters, right? And some people might even say I'm one of those guys, right? Because I am a fan of a lot of those fighters. But I mean, Merjan Akhmadaliev wasn't not high on him. Arslanbek Makhmudov, I wasn't the highest on him. You know, there's Eastern Bloc fighters that I'm not like crazy about. But there are people here on YouTube and in the boxing world that anytime they see a guy with a crazy name from Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan, they want to automatically say he's a killer. And that's just not that's not the truth. Merjan never ever had a dominant performance against any top fighter. He won his titles via split decision, and he lost his titles via split decision. And then in between all that, he fought a bunch of nondescript opposition like Kevin Gonzalez, Ronnie Rios. Like nobody really to write home about. So I never really understood the hype of Merjan.
Yeah, and the only forget him and his beret. He don't even need to wear a fucking beret.
Yeah.
I can wear.
And then
beret.
As far as Casemiro has not lived the life of a fighter for the last couple of years. He's been losing fights and whatnot. And truth be told, I mean, look, the best time for that fight to happen was 3 years ago. Yep. Unfortunately, it didn't happen because of COVID, and Casemiro didn't do what he was supposed to do. So that list doesn't excite me at all, honestly. Like them fights don't do nothing for me. No. But at the same time, Inoue just fought the number 1 and number 2 guy at featherweight, so I can't complain too much, right? But I don't want to see the Merjan fight. Now, as far as the events, if listen, Inoue fighting at the Tokyo Dome is great. I mean, I think that's amazing. I mean, I've been to the Tokyo Dome. I went to a game there earlier this year. Yeah. One of the coolest things I've ever done in my life was go to a baseball game at the Tokyo Dome. It's a great venue. It's obviously big for baseball. It has boxing history there. Mike Tyson's fought there. So correct me if I'm wrong. I think Inoue would probably be the first fighter to fight in the Tokyo Dome since Mike Tyson, which would obviously increase his star appeal in Japan and obviously around the world. And then obviously, who isn't going to Saudi Arabia these days? I mean, everyone's going to Saudi. Saudi's becoming like the new big thing in boxing. So obviously, if they have the money to make the fights happen, and obviously Naoya Inoue will be someone that would be very good for them.
Let me ask you a question. I asked it earlier. So if it was up to you, besides these no disrespect to all these fighters here, who would you pick in the division that would give him a better fight besides? I mean, look, different names. At
122, at 122, Neri's good. He can fight Neri, which is cool. But if I had it my way, he would fight Sam Goodman. He would fight Luis Neri. If he gets past Neri, then Sam Goodman, and then if he gets past Sam Goodman, Elijah Pierce. Those are the two names. Why Sam Goodman and Elijah Pierce? Well, first of all, those are two legit fighters. Like to me, Casemiro is not a legit fighter at
undisciplined.
He's not. He hasn't earned the shot. He'll get the fight only because
his name,
history, and they have some. You know, he talks a lot, so it'll sell there. But you know, Sam Goodman, I like that fight because Sam's been getting legitimate wins. He took Rais Alim's and he's in the top. He's a top contender. And the same thing goes for Elijah Pierce. Elijah Pierce is a fighter that has been knocking people out. He just knocked out Mike Plania, who's a good Filipino fighter. He beat Shemaine Williams, who was a former world title challenger. And he really wants that fight. And he's ranked highly in like 3 of the 4 sanctioning bodies. So For me, if I had it my way, if he's gonna stay at 122, Neri, Goodman, Elijah Pierce. Those are the fights that I like. You know, but if I had it my way, if I really had it my way, he wouldn't even fight at one. He would fight. He would do the one fight with Neri. He would do one title defense against Neri at the Tokyo Dome. Do it big, defend it undisputed, and then featherweight. No, that's what I would do.
My opinion is, and I told
you. Talk to him, Pops.
I told you.
Let him know how you feel.
No, right after the fight, I told you. I said what I want. He already got all the belts there, right? Forget these guys. No disrespect to them. Move up and challenge yourself on another division. To me, there's nothing. What else do you have to prove in the division? Don't tell me that Neri and him have beef and Casimiro, his time was up, and the other guy, there's nothing more to do. He's got the belts. Move up and challenge yourself to bigger challenges. Move up. Don't waste your time down here no more. You're done. Move up. But I get it.
I do the one fight about
you would?
With Neri. Yeah, because the Neri fight has the whole Yamanaka storyline behind it. So, because, he came to Japan to fight Shinsuke Yamanaka, was it 6 years ago? Yamanaka was a great bantamweight champion, one of the best compound fighters in the world at that time. Neri came to Japan, tested positive for computer raw, beat him in the first fight, came back, did the rematch, came in like 3 or 4 pounds overweight, lost his title on the scale, but then knocked out Yamanaka again, and they got banned.
Then you say that, like, now you gain more respect for Neri because he's become more disciplined than before. After
I mean, he's an exciting fighter. He
could be. I'll agree with you. I can get with that one fight. Get up, move on.
Yeah, because why not? Why not? Yeah. Why not defend your belt? Defend your belts. Tokyo Dome. Do it big against a really good fighter, or move come to the USA, defend it, and then move up to 26. Because to me, I mean,
and that's a different topic with 126.
I would really I'm kind of anxious to him trying to go to featherweight. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay, but do you think he's gonna dominate 126?
Fuck no, absolutely not.
No,
nope.
You won't give him a chance.
He'll win some fights at 26, but I don't think he's gonna be as dominant. That's just my opinion.
Is that because of power and the different weight class?
I just think that's
pushing himself up.
It depends. Okay, it depends on who he fights.
Okay.
If he fights I
mean, ask them. I'm just trying to.
If he fights if he fights certain guys at 26, he could be dominant. But if certain guys get themselves in the hands of the belt, it's going to be tough for him, right? That's just how I feel. But I look forward to it because look, when you put the best challenges in front of a fighter like Inoue, that's when you have a chance to see him maybe go to another level, which is what I'm excited about. Yeah, seeing the best of them.
And is that the same weight class that Angelo fights?
Yes, it is. But look. Okay. Rocky says Elijah needs to work his way up to the rankings first. He's still not worthy to face Inoue. He should fight other contenders like Aleem, Goodman, MJ. I agree with that. But as far as, you know what? I'll tell you like this. I know technically Mirjan Akhmadaliev is somehow a WBA mandatory challenger when he hasn't done anything. The only thing he's done since losing to Tapales is beat Kevin Gonzalez.
You say he's undeserving.
Who the hell is Kevin Gonzalez? All respect to him. He was 26-0, good Mexican fighter. But I'm just saying, he had, I know, even though he is WBA mandatory, he hasn't done enough for me to warrant that position. So I'll say this: I would like to see Elijah Pierce fight Mirjan. Let Inoue fight Neri. If he gets past him, maybe he can fight Sam Goodman after that. And then if he fights Mirjan, the winner of that could be the third one. How about that? That's fair. I like that. Because Elijah is hovering around 8 or 9 in the rankings. So I would like that fight. That's the fight I like, would be Elijah Pierce versus Akhmadaliev. And I'm telling you right now, if they fight, Elijah Pierce going to freaking hurt that dude. That's how I feel.
Yeah, but I mean,
they won't fight
also him. What he's saying, though, that he feels that Elijah needs to do more. Obviously, you're not disagreeing with him. You're just saying how you see it.
Shut Up and Play says, calling it now, and I like his picture, Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
Calling it now. Neri versus Naoya will be at the Tokyo Dome in May. It's already negotiated. Of course. And you know what? That's a good fight. That's a hell of a fight. That's the kind of fight that's it's going to generate the kind of excitement in the ring that would be worthy of Tokyo Dome.
Let me ask you a question.
Because Neri always comes to fight.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If that fight happens for Neri, it's a big opportunity for him. Does he have the talent to beat Inoue? We know when Neri brings him into the ring. We know he's very talented.
It's just defensively. I think he's
got lapses.
I think he's definitely a much more dynamic offensive fighter than Tapales or even Stephen Fulton. Mm-hmm. But defensively, again, I'm not sure if he's. I don't know. I don't think he'll be defensively sound enough to avoid what Inoue is going to hit him with. But he's tough as nails.
Wow. Okay.
The only guy that put him out was Brandon Figueroa. But Brandon Figueroa, you see how big Brandon Figueroa?
he's
Brandon
tall,
Figueroa is huge.
Yeah.
And I know I hate to say it because every time I bring his name, I gotta bring it up. But he has the best. He has the best strength and conditioning coach in boxing.
Lord.
He has Omaya Figueroa, so you know he's gonna be strong.
Yeah.
So
something about the Mexican girl. But
yes. Anyway,
let
me see. Larry Liston's talking like a manager. Nobody knows who Elijah Pierce is globally. Nobody knew who Paul Butler was globally, but Inoue still fought him. So what's your point? What's your point? Nobody knew who Paul Butler was globally.
But he's saying,
yeah, he had the last belt, but like, what are you, his manager? Like,
no, but how you say it, Brendan? Business first, and then boxing.
Man, Inoue can fight me or you. He's gonna sell out the Tokyo Dome. He's that big. He's that big. Come on.
Okay.
He's reached that level.
But he's saying it should be somebody with a bigger name. And there he is, a good fighter though.
Let me see. I think Jalolov sucks. He's a boring Uzbek version of Vladimir Klitschko. Outside of knockouts, his fights are not entertaining to me. Joe Joyce handles them in the amateurs. Exactly. That's another example. Jalolov, Makhmudov, Mirza Ahmadaliev. Like those are three examples of Eastern Bloc fighters that I don't like. Like people got gassed about, and I was just like, okay, yeah, they cool, whatever. Yeah. But I don't want to say Jalolov sucks because I respect him, but I've heard Rick Glazer gasses him up, saying he's this killer. All these people say Jalolov is this killer, but he keeps fighting. He keeps doing these little amateur fights. So I'm not sold on Jalolov. He ain't Philip Hergovich. Mm-hmm. I'm not even sure Jalolov will beat Jared Anderson, to be honest with you. I think Jared Anderson will beat Jalolov, to be honest. And I'm not even like the biggest Jared Anderson guy.
You already got the results off of Makhmudov. The ambulance shit and all that stuff.
Jalolov is definitely the best contender coming up in a relatively week. I don't know about that one. Let's see him step up in class before we start doing that. Because I remember before Makhmudov got the brakes beaten off of him by Caballero, a lot of people were saying the same thing about him. Oh, he's the next this, he's the next that, and then he got flatlined by Ajit Caballero.
Somebody that we expect.
Let me see. BT, what do you think about Fury sparring Obataya for Usyk? Oh, that's great sparring. That's the best sparring you could possibly get for Usyk. Honestly, we know that Obataya is a great cruiserweight. Whether or not he gets the fights to actually prove how great he is a cruiserweight, that's a different story. But as far as talent, style, that's a great look for him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, shout out to Johnny, the pride and joy of all of Las Vegas. He said he want to see Inoue versus Angelo Leo in New Mexico. Yeah,
he's skipping everything.
He don't want to. He don't want to come to South. He don't come to Albuquerque.
Oh, guys, I'm skipping all that line. I know who could be.
Larry Liston says so many of these American fighters are actually overrated because they fight with hometown benefits. Elijah Pierce ain't one of them. And you know what? I want to speak out against this, right? Because there's a lot of I've noticed this a lot recently. Now, look, I'll be the first one to tell you guys. I've said it on the live, and I've argued people on here that as a whole, American boxing ain't as great as it used to be. That's just the truth. You know, we're not really doing much. We don't have no real heavyweights. We don't got many cruiserweights. We don't got no light heavyweight. Like we're not great as a whole. I'm the first one to say that. But I also do notice that recently it does seem like there's an anti-American agenda in boxing. Like whenever,
seriously?
Yeah, whenever I seem to mention a good American contender. There's a bit more hostility that's met. Like for example, if I would have said Elijah Pierce fight Kevin Gonzalez, they would have said, yeah, that's a good fight. Mm. But now that I'm saying Elijah Pierce should fight Merge, they say, oh no, he don't deserve to fight. I was like, come on, man.
So you said that people got like what I'm looking for, an agenda for
Fulton was always overrated because he's American. That's what I'm talking about. Now, are there overrated American fighters like Earl Spence Jr.? Yes, there are. But Stephen Fulton is not overrated.
Nah, I can't say
Stephen
that.
Fulton,
he had 12.
Stephen Fulton only lost to Inoue. So my thing is, if you're gonna downplay Fulton, then Inoue ain't shit. If we're gonna start doing that now with Inoue opponents, then let's just start saying that Naoya Inoue ain't nothing. He's not good. He's just a basic Japanese fighter with a 1-2. How about that? Let's start saying that, because if we're gonna do that, because in my eyes. You could say it's either Donaire or Fulton, but Fulton might be his best one. It's either Fulton or it's Donaire. Straight up, because Fulton was undefeated. He was at the top of his game. He was beating all these undefeated guys, and Inoue made him look like a nobody. But he's not a nobody. Let's get that right.
I love that statement again.
I will start praying for Lomachenko at 126. Hopefully the Lord hears me. Maybe BT can talk to Uncle Bob for us. You said the same shit about Fulton giving Naoya a problem, saying it was 50-50. Look how that turned out. I never said it was 50-50. If you can pull up the clip where I said it, in fact, I vividly remember saying that the fight was a 60-40 fight in favor of Inoue. I gave Fulton his credit and I never wrote him off because he's a fantastic fighter.
Flowers.
And I believe that he had the capabilities to rise to the occasion. But Inoue ultimately showed his level on the night and showed how great he was. So no, I didn't say that same shit. And that's another thing I want to talk to some of you guys about, because y'all keep trying to put words in my mouth. I never said a 50-50 fight. But you know, I respect you being here. I respect Inoue, and I like Napoleon Dynamite. In fact, the only reason I'm even acknowledging your comments is because that's
something with that.
That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite movies.
Do that movie.
So, yeah.
Good comment though. Thank you.
He said you're trying to make every issue black and white. That's not how to debate at all.
Nobody's making that out.
What do you
we're
mean
talking about Japanese and stuff. Larry, please.
This
is nobody coming. What are you talking about, black and white?
Overrated or overhyped doesn't mean he isn't good. It just means he's rated or hyped better than he actually is. Well, okay, then since he's overrated, then you tell me who at 122 when Inoue was planning to move up to the weight class, who was better than Stephen Fulton? Who was better than him? Because I'll tell you who it wasn't. It sure as hell wasn't punk ass Merjan who didn't want to fight nobody. It wasn't him. So please, in the comment section, you, Larry, and everyone else in the chat, please let me know. Please let me know if Stephen Fulton is overrated. Let me know who at 122 wasn't that Inoue could have fought when he moved up. Please, because
if this ain't a black and white thing, I don't like that comment you made, Larry. Isn't that he's telling you what the Japanese guy's doing? He's telling based on Fulton's record what he's doing, and you coming out with this other crazy shit.
No, but Larry, there's no debate. There's no debate, Larry. Stephen Fulton was the #1 guy at 122 when Inoue fought him. That's what's not for debate. That's
how he earned the fight.
That's how he got the fight.
He beat a champion in Leo, and he earned the fight. How can you say that?
And Brandon Figueroa. Don't forget him.
And Brandon, yeah. So what do you? I mean, please. I might not be the most expert boxer, but please.
He says that I need to learn the definition of words and come back at him. You need to know how to read rankings. If I need to learn the definition of words, then you need to know how the landscape of weight classes work. Because you're saying Stephen Fulton is overrated, right? He was the #1 guy at the weight class. So if he ain't shit, then it is what it is.
Anyways.
And Naoya Inoue didn't do anything. Then Naoya Inoue isn't fighter of the year. Okay, if Stephen Fulton is overrated, Inoue is not fighter of the year. He shouldn't be in the running for fighter of the year because he beat one guy in Tapales who he was like a -2,000 favorite, and then he beat another guy who wasn't anything good at 122. So what did he really do? What are we celebrating for? Why am I even live? What are we even talking about?
Now we pray for you. Thank you for your comment. On to the next, brother. On to the next.
Come on, man.
Have a good time with that. On to the next. God bless.
Let me see.
Thank you for your comment.
I wouldn't say that. Where's all the popular white boxers in America? It's always the darkest skin when people talk about American boxing. Caleb Plant's not black. I mean, some people say he is, but he's white. But that's one. Caleb Plant, Joe Smith Jr. Who else? I mean, I know there's more. Mm-hmm. Jake Paul.
Yeah.
BT, be honest. Did you scream and rage when Inoue said he wants murder? Yes. If you were here on the live, I was losing.
Oh my God.
I was losing my mind because I'm like, no.
This guy held the belt for how long? Merjan when he had it?
Listen.
He milked that.
Only way, listen, I saw a tweet earlier. I forgot who it was from, but I'm going to quote this tweet that I saw earlier. Someone said the only way that they would accept Inoue fighting Merjan or Casemiro is if he fights them both on the same night. If Inoue fights both of them on the same night, then that's cool. But other than that, I'm good on Merjan. Ask Pops, who is his favorite fight? So he wants to know from you, who was your favorite fighter when you first started watching boxing? Before we move on to more Inoue.
My favorite fighter before I started watching boxing, I was a big Marvin Hagler fan.
Yeah.
I grew up in Massachusetts, so for me it was the era of Leonard. That's when I really got into Leonard, Hagler, Tommy Hearns, and Roberto Duran.
Yeah. Brendan Smith wants to know, why am I in love with Terrence Crawford? How am I in love with Terrence Crawford?
I like Brendan Smith. He just trying to get on your
criticized. It's funny because most of the time these days I get criticized for being a Terrence Crawford hater, but I'm also a Boots hater, and I'm a hater of everybody. Apparently, I hate everybody.
Just trying to get on you, but
but you know what? Let me see. You might have just gave us our segue that we needed.
Oh yeah.
You did.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you for the segue, Brandon.
You're the man, Brandon.
That's why we keep you around. So now look, we're gonna open up a real can of worms. I already know the comment section about to get real lit right now.
Seriously?
Because we're gonna go to the part of the live where hold on, let me try to get it on the screen now. All right, now why I still have Terrence Crawford #1 over Inoue? You know, they're both great fighters. They're both deserving of the spot, but just in advance, guys, please get out your damn feelings because look, all right, we'll go to screen share and we'll talk a little bit. So the question was posed, and this is the popular question in boxing right now.
Yeah,
who is the best fighter in boxing today? Is it Terrence Crawford? Is it Naoya Inoue? Now, I've heard compelling arguments for both sides. I feel like you can't go wrong with either. I feel like both of them are doing such a great thing for boxing right now with the performances they're putting up. Now, I'll tell you one person who didn't make a great point for why Terrence Crawford is number one in boxing. You know who that is? Terrence Crawford himself. He didn't make a good point because Terrence says, I'm the only fighter to beat a top 5 pound-for-pound fighter this year, and the way I beat him was unmatched. I'm the 2023 fighter of the year. Some might say, but I only fought one time. But that one fight was bigger than any of these other fights. And that's Terrence, right? Now, my counter to that is, number one, I don't know what pound list he was reading off of, but anybody who had Errol Spence Jr. top 5 pound-for-pound this calendar year is not worthy of talking about boxing. That's just the truth. Errol Spence hasn't really done anything crazy to write home about since the car crash. He beat Danny Garcia, who, let's be real, Danny Garcia, good fighter at 140, solid fighter at 47, but nothing crazy at 147. Earl beat him, right? Comeback fight. Cool little fight. Right? Then he beat Ugas. Good win. Ugas just beat Pacquiao. But come on. We know Ugas was never like top truly like upper echelon. He was an overachiever, got the belt, beat Pacquiao. He deserves credit. But like he wasn't no killer like everybody wanted to make him out to be, right? And then we saw when he fought Barrios that was proven to be further, right? Then he fought Terrence. And then Terrence did what I and many people in boxing told you guys he was gonna do for many years. Now, I was saying it from the summer of last year, from before Terrence and Earl even signed the fight. Before Terrence even fought on BLK Prime, I was telling you guys, I told you guys, screw the welterweight, screw the belts. I said, screw the belts. The best welterweights in the world are Terrence Crawford 1, Jerron Ennis 2, and Earl Spence 3. I told you guys that for the longest time, and I still believe that. I believe that for about a solid year and a half. And, you know,
the fight happened.
I like to see Terrence fight Boots, but Terrence doesn't want to do that. So people made great points for Terrence being number one, but Terrence didn't make a great point for himself being number one. That's just that's my opinion. Right now, let's get into some of the points because I'm gonna analyze them from both sides. All right.
You not be biased.
Not gonna be biased here, right? Because honestly, no. Honestly, if I want to be biased,
I know.
Inoue would be number one. If I was being as biased as possible, Inoue would be number one, and I wouldn't even give thought to Terrence Crawford or anybody else. But
subscribers decide.
But look. So look, here's one of the reasons you could say Inoue is number one. Man has 45 knockdowns in his career. 45 knockdowns across 25 or 26 fights. You know, one of the most destructive boxer punchers, if not the most destructive boxer puncher in the game today. He's special, special talent. You know, he knows what to do. A great blend of speed, power, body punching. I mean, he's a great fighter. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But you know, as far as
will you say he's a better finisher than Crawford? I would argue no.
Is he a better?
There's no better finisher than boxing, in my opinion.
None of them are. Neither one of them are a better finisher than Arts better be. Because what's better than 100%?
Oh shit!
How about that? How about that?
Thank you. Got a hand for that too.
How about that?
Yeah.
But look here. Look, this is my notes. So this is literally from 2 hours ago. You guys can even see the time. 6:36 p.m. It's 8:46 now. So this is 2 hours ago. I was doing your homework when I was preparing for the live. Look, these are the facts about Inoue and Crawford. Both of them are 4-division champions. Wow. Both of them are 2-time undisputed. Yeah. They both won their first world title in 2014. That's crazy. Terrence in March of 2014, Inoue in April of 2014. All right. Now, in my my humble opinion, I thought Inoue beat a better fighter this year in Stephen Fulton than Crawford did in Earl Spence, because it's not so much you can argue Earl was the bigger name, but it all depends on when you fight these guys. And I know the argument's going to be, well, Earl didn't want to fight Terrence. Earl ducked Terrence, which is true. He didn't want to smoke with Terrence, but the Fulton that Inoue fought was at the top of his game, at the peak of his powers. There wasn't a ton of marination. He fought
top 12 fighters, didn't he? Top
right. Fulton had beaten like 7 or 8 undefeated fighters, 2 undefeated champions. He was just coming off of a dominant performance victory over a former champion in Danny Ormond. He was the fresher fighter between him and Spence. Yeah. In fact, I had him as a pound fighter when he went to fight him. Mm-hmm. And I was saying before they fought, I said Fulton is a higher pound fighter than Earl Spence, right? So that's the argument I would give for Inoue. Now for Terrence Crawford, the argument and the reason why I ultimately still have number one is that when they both fought for the undisputed title, which is they each had 2 fights, Inoue against Paul Butler and Marlon Tapales, Crawford against Earl Spence and Julius Ndongo. They both had 2 undisputed fights. Terrence was the more dominant in both those fights. Now, they were both dominant, but I'm talking about like you can't even pick out 5 to 10 seconds of any of those fights between Ndongo or Spence where Crawford is losing 5 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
There is no, he loaded up and hit me with a big uppercut. There was none of that against Terrence Crawford. So, yes, the margins are very tight, but I just think Terrence in the undisputed fights was better, just a little bit better than Inoue. And unlike Inoue, he didn't get the luxury of fighting somebody as pillow-fisted and as scared to win as Paul Butler. Because let's be real, Paul Butler, I mean, y'all talk about Boots versus Karen Chukajan. I mean, same thing. Came to survive. Didn't have really much with him as far as punching power is concerned. And Inoue got to basically get, in my opinion, a free win to Undisputed.
So definitely, if Inoue goes to 126 and becomes Undisputed, he's the better of the two.
Well, no. Let me get to my points. Don't interrupt me, please. All right? Neither one of them, let's just be real, neither one of them is Fighter of the Year. Now, this one, people aren't going to like this.
Oh, shit.
Inoue is not Fighter of the Year because look, Inoue fought. I went live for both those fights, leading up to the fight, during the fight. I made countless videos for Inoue Fowen. I made videos for Tapales Inoue. And the consensus in both those fights from everyone that watches these videos and everyone in boxing is that Inoue is going to beat the shit out of those two guys. And that's exactly what happened, right? So granted, they are the number 1 and number 2 guys at 122. But, like, if they're not really, like, considered to be at his level, then is he really Fighter of the Year? Same thing with Terrence. Terrence was the favorite against Earl. Okay, yeah, it was a big fight. Yeah, there was a lot of talk over the years, but he was the favorite against Earl. So for me personally, I like to give more credit to the guys that actually win the fights they're not supposed to win when the circumstances aren't in their favor. So for that reason, for that reason, do you want to know my Fighter of the Year is? I haven't even told you this.
No, he doesn't.
Do you know who the real Fighter of the Year is? Because it ain't Inoue, it ain't Crawford.
Holy shit!
And it ain't Devin Haney either.
No, tell me that Mexican just won.
All right, who?
The Mexican guy that just won.
Benavidez?
No,
it ain't him either.
No.
Who else? Who you think I'm gonna say?
I don't know. I can't say. I don't know. Tell me.
It ain't
Espinosa.
It's not Espinosa either. Do you know the Fight of the Year?
Pam Rodriguez.
It's not. I mean, that's a good shot, but
he had a great run too.
He had a good year, but wasn't Fighter of the Year.
Wrong side. What he did was crazy too.
That was last year.
Okay. I'm sorry.
But you know the Fight of the Year was this year? The real Fight of the Year? Not the I want to dick ride. Listen. Not the I want to dick ride and I want to put my favorite fighter as Fight of the Year. I'm talking the real Fight of the Year. Do you know who it is?
Immediate politics, or you just this is what you say?
This guy I'm about to say he's not gonna win. I'm gonna say right now he's not gonna win Fight of the Year. Ring Magazine's not gonna give it to him. ESPN's not gonna give it to him. But this guy should be Fight of the Year. Why? Because he actually won fights that he was not supposed to win. Y'all over here, on this live, I've already had people say that Fulton ain't shit, that Tapales ain't shit, and y'all want to give Inoue Fighter of the Year, but he's beating guys that ain't shit, right? So he's not Fighter of the Year. I'll tell you right now, the Fighter of the Year for me is O'Shaquie Foster. That's the real Fighter of the Year.
Holy shit.
The Fighter of the Year is O'Shaquie Foster.
He hasn't accomplished that what they accomplished. The resume.
Listen. Fuck that shit. Listen, O'Shaquie Foster is the Fighter of the Year because he was in 2 fights this year he was not supposed to win. He fought Ray Vargas, who was a 3-division champion, who moved up to try to beat him because he thought it was easy pickings. Yeah. O'Shaquie boxed him around the ring. He boxed him around the ring easy, in hostile territory. Okay, easily.
So you're basically
that was early in the year. Won the title from him, right?
Yeah.
Then they brought him to Mexico to lose. He was the B-side fighter in Mexico against Rocky Hernandez.
Yeah.
And what did he do that fight? He knocked him the hell out.
So you're saying
he won 2 fights he wasn't supposed to win. He's a minus 2,000 favorite. You couldn't even make money off Inoue betting on him. You know, like if you would have bet on Inoue, like you could have bet a couple hundred on him and won like a couple $100 back or whatever.
Yeah.
You still not making money because you gotta pay taxes on that shit. Okay, so you wouldn't even have made money.
You're basically saying you're giving him more credit because he wasn't the favorite to win his opponents.
Yes. If when a fighter who's in fights where he's either the underdog,
the B-side,
or where it's looked to be as a 50-50 fight, if he wins those fights, you got to give him more credit than the guy who was a minus 2,000 favorite at the sports book.
Wow.
I mean, come on. And then mind you, like, I'm not taking away from Inoue. I'm just telling y'all the truth.
Yeah, but look at that.
Hold on. I'm just telling y'all the truth.
But
hold on. I'm just telling y'all the truth. Inoue fought in Japan both times.
Right. But the argument is going to be, what has O'Shaquie Foster
That doesn't matter because it's Fighter of the Year, not Fighter of the Career, not Fighter of the. It's not the Hall of Fame. It's Fighter of the Year. So we're talking about 2023, and just for me, winning those fights against Ray Vargas and Eduardo Rocky Hernandez under those circumstances is more impressive than you beating Stephen Fulton, who apparently, according to Larry Liston, isn't that good. He's overrated. And Marlon Tapales, who apparently is not that great either for some of you guys.
Yeah.
So y'all can't do that. Y'all cannot have your cake and eat it too with me. You can't sit here and say Inoue is great, but his opponents suck. You can't do that with me.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing it.
So,
and then for Terrence, we all know Earl, even at his best, was never going to beat Terrence.
Mm-hmm.
And Earl, especially after, the car crash, definitely had no chance against Terrence.
Yeah.
So to me, that wasn't even that crazy. I mean, it was fun to watch. I enjoyed it. It was satisfying, but I was more impressed with, even though, and I'm not like a massive, like I'm a bigger Inoue and Crawford fan than I am Oshaki, but I'm not a fanboy, and that's the difference. I like what he did more in those fights, and I don't feel like, because all I've been seeing from the boxing media on Twitter and social media is they say it's either Crawford or Inoue or Crawford.
Nothing about Shockey.
And what they're trying to do is they're trying to take the pound argument and blend it and bleed it right into the fighter of the year, and that's not how it's supposed to work. Fighter of the year is for guys who
underachieving.
No, not for underachieving. It's for guys who did things throughout the year. Inoue and Crawford, especially Inoue. Inoue was a massive favorite in both those fights at the sport book, and he fought in his hometown. So. And a lot of you guys don't even think the guys he beat were that great anyway. Yeah. So what are they giving him fighter of the year for if the guys he beat aren't that great?
So to go ahead and follow what you're saying, about Oshaki. So you expect bigger and more things from him now.
Yeah,
to be the same. To be the same level. These guys
he's gonna get bigger fights now. I mean, he's fighting Abraham Novo on February 16th.
Yeah.
That's a good little fight. But I'm just saying, look, he wasn't supposed to when he fought Ray Vargas.
So he's a big underdog.
I don't know if he was underdog in that fight. But I just look. He fought in the Alamo Dome against a Mexican. Well, fighting in Texas against a Mexican is not easy.
Yeah.
Okay. He won his world title against a guy who was undefeated 3-division champion, trying to become a 4-division champion in Ray Vargas. A really good fighter.
He threw a curve on me.
Then Rocky Hernandez. That was supposed to be Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn was supposed to have a Mexican champion. Yeah. That was supposed to be the coronation of Mexican champion.
Yeah.
And he was down on the scorecards and he came and he knocked his ass out. So he showed you in one fight that he could outbox a taller, technical boxer. And then he showed you he could out Mexican in Mexico to defend his belt. Yeah. So to me, that's fighter of the year. Not Devin Haney, who got beat up by a featherweight and got a get decision, and then fought, good win against previous program. I can't say anything bad about program. That was a great win, but he got to get against Loma. So my thing is, he won't. I know Oshaki won't get fighter of the year, but for me, that is fighter of the year.
So who you expect is gonna get one of these two guys right here?
It's gonna be one of these two.
For sure.
Yeah, it's for sure.
How about anybody else?
Nope. I mean, I could throw in Joseph Parker's name. I thought Joseph Parker had 4 fights this year, and he fought the hardest puncher in heavyweight history and beat him easier than anybody ever beaten him. Because unlike Fury, he didn't need to do it in 2 fights. He got it right the first time.
You know what the argument is out with that? They're gonna tell you Waldo was rusty. That's why he beat him. That's the argument the fans.
That's a personal choice.
I'm just throwing
a personal choice.
I disagree. I'm just telling you what they're gonna say.
I don't give a damn.
He beat.
They weren't saying that. They weren't saying that shit before the fight started. No. All I heard all week was that Wilder was gonna ram his right hand down Joseph Parker's throat and knock him out. And it's the road. No, it's the road to AJ versus Fury, AJ versus Wilder. They weren't saying none of that shit before the fight. So if he wasn't saying that before the fight, don't say that.
And I would say one thing about. I go back on Parker real quick. Parker was treated like second class,
and he
came
out. They had him in a smaller hotel room. They treat him like he basically was just a peon.
That's crazy.
Forget that you were ex-heavyweight champion. So yeah, for me, I would say.
Well, let's see what the squad says.
One last point about this, right? Okay. One last point about this.
Yeah.
As far as the Inoue Crawford thing is concerned, if you got Inoue number 1, that's cool. If you got Crawford number 1, that's cool. They're both great fighters. They're both deserving of that spot. They both have been great champions for boxing for. Now going on a decade. They've both been at the championship level for a decade now. 2014 was 10 years ago.
So quick.
I don't think we're going to see any real separation between Crawford or Inoue until either one of them decides to compete in the 5th weight class. Which for Terrence, that'd be 154, and for Inoue that'd be featherweight. Until Terrence goes to 54 or Inoue goes to featherweight, there in my eyes, I know you guys can feel differently. But in my eyes, there's no separation because they're both 4-division champions. They're both 2-time undisputed, and they've both been champions since the same freaking year, damn near a month apart.
I will say one thing. I think when it's all said and done, the argument of a better of the two is, for me, I feel, and what I'm speaking now, I think Inoue is going to accomplish more than Crawford because Crawford's not doing nothing right now. I see him
probably
retiring mode. So I see When he moves up to 126, Inoue, he's going to actually separate himself from Crawford. He's going to be, if he can become undisputed at 126 and take all the belts over there, become 3-time and everything else, there's no discussion. There is no discussion.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. And see, my man New Kai understands there is a little bit of a crossover with Fighter of the Year and Pound for Pound. Yeah, exactly. So
you're saying separate them. Basically what you're saying.
Yeah, they're not separating them.
Yeah.
They're saying, well, basically, no, pound for pound number 1 is fight. No, that's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
That is not how it works.
Brandon wants some clarification.
I want to clarify it for you guys. Yeah. And I'm not even like I said, I'm no Oshaki Foster fan, but like check my archive. I don't got like a million Oshaki Foster videos, but to me, what he did supersedes what those guys did in fights they were supposed to win. Let's remember, Folan only became trash post-fight because many are picking Folan going in first, going up. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. All I've heard about Stephen Folan since he lost in a way is that he sucks, that he's not good. But I remember a lot of people picking him, and he was the number 1 guy. He could have been the clear-cut number 1 guy, but like I'm gonna say, anytime this guy's name comes up, Merjan didn't want no smoke.
He gonna want from no one either. Don't give him no belt. Don't give him a chance.
Let me see. I'd rather have Ken Shiro or Lee Wood. Yeah. I mean, Ken Shiro, that's a biased pick. If I pick Ken Shiro, I'm just being biased.
because it's only original poster from Japan.
Yeah. In a way, it's not the fight of the year because there's more in 122. Goodman, Neary, no, he has a case. Like if you're picking Inoue for fight of the year, your case is that he went to 122. He won undisputed. He beat the number 1, number 2 guy back to back. That's your argument. There is no other argument you can make because if you're picking him for fight of the year based on because he was a big favorite in both fights, so you're not picking it because it was some sort of 50-50 fight, or you're not picking him because he was against all odds fighting a guy that was no.
Yeah.
Let me see. Shout out to QC says, "What's happening? BT and Pops, hope you fellas are good. Talking pound for pound. How the hell is Tank top 10 in some people's rankings? I don't know. Different strokes for different folks.
His name not Tank anymore. Or the Lami.
Oh man.
God bless the Tank. He's right though what he's saying because Tank has really had fought like
every single one that BT hates is the darker skin. What are you talking about?
Brother. He's laughing, teasing you.
I don't know.
He just teasing you. Don't pay no mind. I know just laughing.
I wouldn't. Let me see. Anyway, yeah. Let me see. He says Vaquero Navarrete. Nah, I can't. I mean, he's a good fighter. I can't really pick him either because I thought he lost to Robinson Consensao. I thought he lost to him.
Didn't he get offered to fight Stevenson and he didn't fight him? Or he turned it down?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he turn it down? Navarrete?
Yeah.
He turned that fight down before the last fight that Stevenson had. So
can you be fighter of the year just one fight? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Plenty of guys won fighter of the year just one fight. Marvin Hagler won fighter of the year. There are years where he won fighter of the year with one fight. It's happened plenty of times before. I just don't think that this year is one of those years. Crawford won. Terrence, you ask Terrence. Terrence pretty much thinks that we, the boxing public, have to kiss his ass for the rest of the time because he beat Errol Spence. That's what he thinks. But I'm here to tell Terrence that not everybody thought that Errol Spence and you were the 2 best welterweights. There are some people that thought that Jaron Ennis was better than Errol Spence before the fight.
And neither one fought him, right?
Neither one of them fought him. Let me see. Where is it? I saw one comment I wanted to get to. My man Raider. Shout out to Raider. You haven't seen him in a minute. He says, BT, it's about effing time you make sense. Now, before I get to that shit comment, Raider, I make sense all the time. You just don't agree with it. But he said,
yeah,
we don't usually agree, but Inoue is fight of the year and number 1 pound for pound. Crawford won fight of 1 year. Inoue beat 3 champions and went 2-time undisputed from. Yeah, okay. Wow. And I'm not mad at that. Facts. That's facts.
Mm-hmm.
But again, Inoue and Crawford are not fighter of the year for me. So Shocky Foster, that's the fighter of the year for me. But I know that's not what's gonna happen. Yeah. Because if they put Oshaki Foster on the Ring magazine, that's not going to sell as many magazines as Crawford or Inoue being on the Ring magazine. So they got to do what's best for business.
But he's coming. Shaki's coming.
And I'm not no fanboy. I'm just telling you what I think.
Yeah. Calling it down the line.
By the way, speaking of that, I already gave away one of my awards for the year. I'm not going to do an awards live on True School, but Saturday, I'm still waiting for my confirmation. But Sean Tatel from Fight Hype reached out to me about going on Fight Hype to do a year of the end awards thing. So I should be going
live there
Saturday, but I'm not sure yet. He hasn't confirmed with me yet. BT, have you ever thought about giving Fight of the Year to Shigioka, or does he not exist to you? No love. You talking about Wait, which one though? Because there's both. You got Jinjiro and you got Udai. So you got to specify which one are we talking about. We talking about Udai? We talking about Jinjiro? Which one are we talking about?
You're on with that.
No, they're real good fighters too. Jinjiro beat, what's the guy's name? I can't remember right now. But nah, I mean, I wouldn't put them as fighter of the year. They're good though. I think now what one of the Chiyoga got to do to get in that discussion. They got to beat Oscar Collazo. If one of them can beat Oscar Collazo, then we can talk about them being in the fight of the year discussion. But yeah. Anyway, what else? Udai. He's saying Udai. I like Udai. Udai's a good fighter, but for me in that weight class, I don't think you can be fighter of the year if you don't beat Oscar Collazo. That's just me. Or like if you're Oscar Collazo, you can't get in fighter of the year. Let's beat one of the Chiyokas. That's just how it goes. Got to beat one of the top guys. But they're great fighters. I got a lot of love and a lot of respect for the Chiyoka brothers. But last thing I want to touch on as far as Inoue and Tapales. I want to touch on Tapales. Right? I do want to show Marlon some love, even though some of you guys don't think much of him or Steven Forward. So Inoue, you guys disqualify Inoue yourself from being fighter of the year. But I wanted to discuss, what could be next for Marlon Tapales, right? And I want to start with this right here because this is a quote, not from me. Remember, this is not me. This is from Inoue himself. I'm just a messenger. So don't please, Inoue fan base, don't kill me. Inoue himself says, it was one of the most intense fights I ever had. And he's speaking about the fight with Marlon Tapales. And look, again, going back today, watching it, I saw like a damn near completely different fight than I watched the first time. But Marlon was doing a lot of great things in there that I could see were troubling Inoue at times. The way he would box and turn him at times was giving him problems. Marlon also does have that heavy hand. So and he was landing some good shots, and he didn't relent. He didn't fold under pressure. He did his best with the tools he had at his disposal, but it just wasn't enough, right? So Inoue gave him his just due. And I think Marlon's stock, even in the loss, has went up. And Marlon will be a name that people want to see fight in the super bantamweight division. And as far as Marlon's concerned, Marlon did an interview recently where, as you guys can see on the screen, Marlon stated that his promoter, the incomparable knucklehead, Sean Gibbons, the president of Manny Pacquiao Promotions, he plans to give Marlon a fight in May or June to fulfill the activity, right? So he said that he's going to rest for only 2 weeks, and then he'll be back in the gym and focused on regaining his titles. And that right there, that's the mentality you want to have. That's what you want to hear from a guy who was a proud champion who just lost his titles, right? So let's talk about it. What could be in the cards for Marlon Tapales? Because, he was champion, and there's going to be a lot of interesting fights. Now, I look at the landscape of the 122 division, and I see some interesting names for Marlon Tapales. Now, I mentioned Elijah Pierce earlier. I would love to see Marlon fight Elijah Pierce because I think that's a very explosive southpaw and southpaw power punching matchup. Elijah Pierce has ambitions to try to get his name into the Inoue sweepstakes. And he's a highly ranked fighter, so I think it would make sense for Marlon to fight him. Whether Marlon fights him or not is another discussion. But if Elijah Pierce could fight a guy like Marlon and beat him, then that would do a lot for him, beating an ex-Inoue opponent. But I like that fight from a style standpoint because both them dudes can crack. Those are two of the hardest punching fighters in the weight class, right? So that's a good fight for Marlon. Obviously, you got TJ Doheny, who was once upon a time, many years ago, it seems like now, a champion, and he's had a bit of a resurgence in his career as he knocked out Joseph. What was the guy's name? Lamido, the prospect from the Philippines that was sparring with Inoue that everyone was saying was going to be the next big thing, and then they fought TJ Doheny thinking it was sweet, and then TJ Doheny packed him up in a couple rounds and knocked him out, and he's 37 years old. Wow. So he's looking for that one last big fight. Yeah. So I think Marlon versus TJ Doheny makes a lot of sense. Obviously, you got Rais Salim, who has been begging for a big fight. He couldn't get it with Fulton. He couldn't get the Angelo Leo fight. He couldn't get a lot of fights. So he's obviously a guy to look for. And then there's one name I'm seeing too, and he fought on the undercard of this fight. And I haven't made a video about him, but I love what I saw from him in the couple rounds that I watched, which is the number 10 contender right here, Yoshiki Takai. This guy was a former kickboxer.
You ever seen him fight?
We saw him fight. Yeah, he was the first fight on the card. Yeah. He was I think he was 7-0 or 8-0. They're fast tracking the hell out of him. He's been Japanese champion, southpaw. Very popular. He just scored a very big knockout on the undercard of Inoue Tapales, where he feinted his opponent to the body and then hit him with a big left hand to the body. So I like that fight. I mean, I like any one of them fights with Tapales. Yoshiki Takai, Rais Salim, TJ Doheny, Elijah Pierce. These are the kind of names I want to see Tapales straight back in the ring with it, because I think he's capable of giving those guys all a good run for the money. What do you think, Pops? Any of those names stick out to you? You know anything about those names?
Say it again. Look at it again.
So you had TJ Doheny, you had Elijah Pierce, you had the dude that fought on the undercard, Yosuke Takai.
Yeah, I'll take everybody besides Mojoran. Besides,
he already beat Merjan. He don't need to fight. He already beat him.
I don't want him.
That's how I got the Inoue fight.
I don't want Casemiro either. He's done shit active. Put some new blood up there, new fresh blood up there. To be honest, that's my opinion.
Yeah,
somebody different up there that can do something for him. So anybody but them two fools.
My man Lance Meyer says, if the Boxing Boys can do it, why can't True School Sports change the narrative? Who wrote the script? This shit seems backwards. What are you talking about?
This guy ready to go.
Lance, I don't know what you're talking about.
I like that.
I mean, God
maybe
bless.
He's just saying like
God bless. Ness and Danny. Yeah. I got a lot of love for the brothers down at the Boxing Boys. I enjoy the Boxing Boys. I do tune in and I listen from time to time when I have time to watch other people's content. But I have no clue what you mean.
I think please, he just disagreeing with some of the things, like when you picked that Osaki over Crawford and what's your name? Crawford and Inoue, and now you're saying this and that. So you got everything back because you should be going to be like, no, you're not. You're just not understanding how Brendan is.
Yeah.
Respect
if Casemiro can't beat Tapales, he should stop calling out Inoue. That'd be a good fight. If that to me would be a fight where, like, look, you got two Filipinos, so that's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, I think Casemiro is just too long in the tooth. I like Casemiro. I think that fight 3 years ago would have been amazing if COVID didn't happen. I know Pops used to be bigger Casemiro.
Oh no, Inoue.
Oh yeah, you used to say stuff like I'm like, what are you talking about? Inoue gonna beat the brakes off this dude.
I'm big on him. Then COVID came.
He started being a little unprofessional. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Let me see. I saw one interesting comment I wanted to get to. I appreciate everybody being here. Look, I want to tell you guys something. No matter whether I get high, I get low, I go crazy, I appreciate everyone that's here. You know, great question right here by Nuka. He says, BT, how heavily is Fighter of the Year affected by having 1 versus 2 fights? It all depends, right? Because I really do feel like Fighter of the Year, and I've noticed this pretty much every year I've been alive, I've been watching boxing. It's not really about, because people like to act and they like to virtue signal. Like, there's this new thing in boxing now because Steve Kim made it a popular saying on Twitter where he says activity matters. So now that's something that everyone likes to say. But in reality, guys, like, people don't give a crap about fighters being active. They care about the big fights. So what I've noticed over the years is that the fighters that are in the biggest fights / biggest events, if they perform well in those fights, they're going to have favoritism over someone else. It won't matter if somebody won a lesser popular fight, but they were a bigger underdog. Like, F all that. No. He won it with more lights and it was on pay-per-view, so therefore he's Fighter of the Year. I feel like the magnitude of the event supersedes the amount of fights somebody has. That's just me. That's what I've noticed over the years. Because look, for example, I'll give you an example, right? They gave Floyd Mayweather Fighter of the Decade for the last decade. But you got to remember, he retired. His last fight was in 2015 against Andre Berto. So he spent half a decade not even fighting. But they gave him Fighter of the Decade because he fought Manny Pacquiao in the biggest fight. And it's the same thing of Fighter of the Year. Because truthfully, I thought Roman Gonzalez or even like a Golovkin or someone like that would have had a better case. Personally, I had a Roman Gonzalez at that time as Fighter of the Year. Or Fighter of the Decade, I should say. But they gave it to Floyd. They gave it to Floyd because he won the biggest, most important fight for the boxing industry and the boxing business. So to answer your question as direct as I can, whichever fighter wins and has a good performance in the biggest fight that most positively impacts the boxing industry, that is normally the guy I think will win Fighter of the Year. And it's no different than when there's a close fight and there's 2 fighters in the ring. The guy that's the more politically connected fighter with the promoters and stuff, that's normally the guy who gets the decision. It's the same thing with Fighter of the Year. It's like anything else in boxing. What do you think?
I'm with you, PT. I'm with you.
Yeah, so that's what it is. Shout out to everyone here. Make sure you smash that like button. David Esser wants to know what I think about Andy Hiroko. He has won over that one dude who's high ranked at 47, and it's also from Japan. It's funny you mentioned that because literally today, like in my phone, I have this thing I'm going to show you guys. Oh, shit, I'm actually going to show you guys. I'm going to give you guys some intel here. I'm going to give you guys some True School Sports intel. So in my notes, like I have a notes thing, right? And like right now, like look, this is my notes. And like I got like prospect review videos. I don't know if y'all can see some of those names like Kurt Scooby, Zach Spiller, Winston Guerrero, Sense Boy from Nigeria, Daniel Perot, who else? Danilo Diaz, Nikita Zoo, Albert, the Russian guy, Michael Gamble, Antonio. Like that's a list of prospect review videos, and then I got like other videos here. So like normally, if I get an idea for videos, I put it in my notes, and when I can get to it, I get to it, right? So I just started going through my notes today because I've been so busy with like WBA convention, the lives, my own interviews, covering fights that I haven't had a chance to get to the
interviews,
the videos in my notes that I really wanted to get to. So today I finally made a video about Andy Hiroka, and I like Andy Hiroka. He's a good fighter. I do think he's a dynamic offensive fighter, but I think he's a flawed fighter. I think you know, you watch him fight, his defense can get leaky at times. But the crazy thing is, for as flawed as he is, he's got a great resume. Like early in his career, he beat Akihiro Kondo. Akihiro Kondo was the former world title challenger. He fought Sergey Lipinets on the Wilder Severn undercard for the title. I actually thought Akihiro Kondo did enough to beat Lipinets. They didn't give it to him. But he's been around for a long time. One of the true warriors in Japanese boxing. Then he beat Jin Sasaki when Jin Sasaki was at 140 pounder. Jin Sasaki couldn't even make the weight for that fight. He barely made the weight, and I think it was for the Japanese title, but he couldn't win it because he couldn't make the weight. So he's got a good resume. I like him. I think now for him, he's got 23 fights in the pro ranks. He's boxed over 100 rounds in the professionals.
And you say he got flaws. What makes you think
he
that?
paused with his jab sometimes, and sometimes when he throws punches, he keeps his head right on the center line. So in the last fight against that Mexican who's not even his size, he was getting clipped way too much. But that guy could hurt him, right? So I think, you know, he's number 10 in the IBF, and I was looking at the rankings today. Number 11 is Jose Ramirez below him. Just above him was Elvis Rodriguez. You got Ergashev.
Wow.
So I need to see him in one of them kind of fights this year. I need Ohashi Promotions, Hideki Ohashi, them people. They need to step him up because I want to see what they got at 40. Because he was supposed to fight in the Eliminator. He didn't want to fight Ergashev, and his ranking actually dropped this year. So it'd be nice to see him, you know, be in a bigger fight. Yeah. You know, that's how I feel. Good fight though. Good fighter. If I ever buy Ring Magazine, I will go back and give Chocolatito Fighter of the Decade. Yeah, I did an interview with I can't remember the guy's name. There was this dude, this boxing writer, this white guy. I can't remember his name. This older gentleman. I met him. I can't remember his name right now. It was like in 2020. I was at the Demetrius Andre Luke Keeler press conference in Miami, and I interviewed this one older gentleman, and we were talking about Fighter of the Year, and he was trying to tell me Golovkin deserves to be Fighter of the Year. I'm like, how? Romo Gonzalez. Golovkin wasn't even the best fighter on his own cards. Yeah, Romo Gonzalez.
Wow.
But I gotta remember that guy's name. Hold on. I want to remember that guy's name just for the sake of me documenting this.
Archives?
Yeah, because I'm gonna go to my archives. Right quick. What the hell was this guy's name? Fighter of the decade. I remember just going my YouTube studio right quick. What was this guy's name? I feel bad for you. I only like saying like, oh, that white guy, that black guy. So I apologize. I don't like address people like that because
just say the guy you talked to.
The guy I talked to. His name was what the hell was this guy's name? Because in the title I put Boxing Writers Association President. Yeah. What the hell was this guy's name?
You're gonna find it when you suspect.
No, I got it right here. It's in the description.
Oh yeah, that's old. I mean, what happened to him?
Jack Hirsch. That's his name. Jack Hirsch. I was talking to Jack Hirsch. So it was this interview right here. It was that one right there. I don't know if y'all can see it. If you want to watch it for yourself, that's the Jack Hirsch. That's the interview. True School Sports debates BWAA president about Roman Gonzalez being Fighter of the Decade. We were going back and forth for like a hot damn near 10 minutes. Yeah. So. Yeah. You see what else we got? That's the problem with BT. Chocolatito get his just due. Facts. Shout out to my main man in Las Vegas, Rex Righteous. And right now, guys, I pretty much ran through everything in the live. So right now, we just gonna freestyle it for probably another 15, 20, 30 minutes. We'll see how long it goes. Because I am live a little earlier. So, but Rex Righteous says, yo, BT and Pops, do you feel like people are overlooking Earl Spence Jr. and his future? Absolutely not, because I think Earl Spence Jr. is overlooking his future. Ever since he lost to Crawford, he's been on vacation. He blew up in weight. I'm not even sure he's worried about his future. So if he's not worried, why should I be worried, you know? Right now, PBC hasn't even announced what the hell they're going to do with the Amazon Prime dates yet. Earl hasn't even formally announced what weight class he'll be fighting in, although it's expected he'll be fighting at 154, not 47. You know, but look, Earl's still a good fighter. I know this year and the years leading up, I probably spent too much time putting down Earl Spence. I like Earl Spence. He's a good fighter, but yeah, I think the move for him is to be a 54 pounder, or better yet, you know what would be really great? Forget 54. Just go to 60. Why not help make the middleweight division great again? Go to 160.
That'd be good too.
Because Demetrius Andre's talking about coming back down to 60 now.
Yeah, check out that video.
Yeah, I haven't put that one out yet, but Andre kind of lied to the fans because Andre talking about Andre was just saying Andre's gonna kind of come back down to 60, which is, if that's the case, then that means he lied to everybody because he said he couldn't fight Johnny back because he couldn't make 160 no more. So now
is that cleared up?
Makes me more upset.
Yeah.
David Esther says, I'm ready to bet my bottom dollar on Virgil Ortiz knocking out Frederick Lawson. Yeah, that's damn near a guarantee. Frederick Lawson been stopped hella times. I'd be shocked. I'm looking forward to seeing Virgil how he looks at 54. I know that the fight I'm gonna push for is Virgil versus Xander Zayas because it's Puerto Rico versus Mexico. But just in talking to Xander and Peter Khan, they're gonna continue to take their time with Xander's development, and I don't think we're getting that anytime soon. So
leaves the experience.
Do I got any info on Inoue's next fight? Will it be in the USA? I know about as much as you do right now. They're saying Luis Neri, and the speculation is that because Neri is banned by the Japanese Boxing Commission due to what happened in the Yamanaka fights, that Neri can't fight in Japan, so he has to come to the States. But now they're talking about maybe they may lift the ban. So we don't really know what's going to happen with his next fight. We just know, the only thing I do know is that he'll be at 122. And I'm not really the most thrilled about the list of opponents that he's going to talk about fighting. You tired? You can go.
Yeah.
You want to go?
Yeah.
You tired?
Yeah.
All right. Got any last words?
Yeah, guys.
Parting shots from thought.
Thank you all for being here. Keep supporting True School. It's only going to get better. And remember what I always tell you. His success is your success. God bless.
There you go.
So
Pop's gonna go get some rest and take his medication because you never know with his heart condition. You never know what can happen to him. We gotta always be monitoring Pops. Like I'm monitoring you guys. I'm reading the comments on Process of the Boxing, but I'm also like monitoring Pops at the same time with these lives. But yeah, that's all I know about that next fight. Let me see. Shout out to Khaled. Good to see you, champ. The only thing I'm afraid of is Robert Garcia might tell Virgil some bitch ass shit like, "Oh, we got to get rounds in. Take him the distance so we can get rounds in." Yeah, but the thing is, he could tell him that, but at the end of the day, it's like if the guy can't survive what Virgil has, what Virgil's throwing at him, then it doesn't really matter how many rounds they want to take him. He'll get him out of there at some point. That's just my opinion. And then, mind you, Virgil is not going to have as sharp of a weight cut. We all know Virgil was a gargoyle. He was huge at 47, so I think he'll be stronger at 54. What can you tell me about Ioka's next opponent? Yeah, Jasper Perez, Colombian fighter. He's ranked like extremely low in the rankings. I did a video about it, so go check it out. I don't remember what I said in the video, but I just remember Jasper Perez was really low ranked, and Ioka pretty much said, look, because there was an article that I read pretty much where Ioka said he's not gonna fight since he can't fight, Gaio Estrada or whatever. He just figured he'd get one little easy fight in before the year is over, and that's why I picked this guy because he was extremely low in the rankings. So, yeah. It's a shame Gaio didn't take the Ioka fight. I don't think it was Gaio. I from what I've read and gathered about Ioka over the years, and just with this fight, I do feel like Ioka is kind of difficult to negotiate with. To be honest with you, they might be, but I'm really intrigued to see what Xander's gonna do because he's in a really crazy position where he's still so young, but he's highly ranked. So, how many more developmental fights is he gonna need before he's ready for a world title? I mean, that's what I want to know. Elijah Pierre lost to Giovanni Cabrera, but no offense, Giovanni Cabrera sucks. You're wrong. Giovanni Cabrera does not suck. In fact, just for you saying that, I'm going on BoxRec now because I was literally just looking at Giovanni Cabrera's BoxRec today, and Giovanni Cabrera is actually a underrated fighter. Now I know he's not an exciting fighter. I know his style kind of sucks to watch, but he's an effective fighter, and I'm not gonna tolerate you slandering good, hardworking fighters like Giovanni Cabrera. So we're gonna go to BoxRec right quick. Now look, he's not a big puncher. He's only got 7 knockouts in 21 fights, but when you look at Giovanni Cabrera's career, Okay. Now you just mentioned Elijah Pierce. Elijah Pierce, just so you know, is not a 130 pounder. He's now campaigning at 122, and he lost to Cabrera, and it was what it was there, right? So Cabrera took Elijah Pierce. Oh, that's a good win. Then you fast forward a couple years later, he fought Rene Telis-Garon, the same Rene Telis-Garon who was only a couple of, I believe, a fight or two removed from knocking out Carlos Balderas, who was undefeated. So that's another quality win. Rene Telis-Garon is one of the better fighters in his weight class. So that's another good win right there. Gabe Flores, Gabe Flores got completely exposed by Giovanni Cabrera, and then he fought Esau Cruz to a split decision in a fight that some people thought he could have won, and had if it wasn't for the he fought him in a very close fight, right? So is Giovanni Cabrera a great fighter? No, but he's not a bum. He doesn't suck, and I'm not gonna hear it. You see, how do you see an Ioka Tanaka rematch if it happens? Oh man, it's a hell of a question. Tanaka's not the same fighter he was back in 2020. I mean, I think there's been a real concerted effort made by his trainer Kiyoshi Hatanaka and the fine folks at the Hatanaka boxing gym that look, you can be a dynamic fighter offensively all you want, but you got to tighten up your defense, and that's what he's been working on pretty much since then. And he actually has a fight coming up. He's going to be fighting, I can't remember who it was right now, but he's fighting some guy in the rankings for the vacant WBO title. And if he wins that fight, he'll be a 4-division WBO champion. Ain't that some shit? A 4-division WBO champion. But I think it'd be a much better fight now because Ioka, I don't think Ioka has the stamina he had 3 years ago. I think Ioka is obviously older, and I think Tanaka could beat him in a rematch. Truth be told, I picked Tanaka the first time, but this time I think he would get it done, and I hope it can happen before Ioka leaves the game for good. His win versus Rene Telis. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Giovanni Cabrera is a good fighter, solid fighter. Do you think Landolfo Delgado is a good fighter? Landolfo Delgado, I haven't paid the most attention to him his last couple of fights, so I don't have any updated thoughts on him. But from what I remember about Landolfo Delgado, he's very, very strong, big puncher. Landolfo Delgado is someone that you can't allow to hit you too many times cleanly because he does have fight-changing punching power. Let me see. Let's go on. Let's check in on him because I know he's fought on these top rank undercards, but I'm being honest with you, I haven't been paying the most attention to Landolfo Delgado. I know he had a knockout a couple months ago because I saw an interview where he was talking about it. But let me see, 19-0. What's he at? 19-0 now. 14 KOs. What's he doing these days? So see Clarence Booth, Omar Aguilar. Yeah, he's trucking along. Top Rank's moving him real nice and slow. He's ranked number 12. He's ranked number 12 in the world at on box record at 140. So that's got to mean he's got to be ranked. Let's see if he's ranked anywhere. He's a top ranked fighter, so I'm gonna assume just off rip he's gonna be ranked in the WBO because everyone in Top Rank is ranked in the WBO. No, he's not. He's not even ranked there. Okay, so Landolfo is not ranked in the WBO. He's not ranked in the IBF. He's not ranked in the WBA. But he's ranked number 9 in the WBC. So that's the route I guess they're going. So, good puncher, upright, straightforward, Mexican fighter. Solid guy. I don't think he's I'm not crazy about Landolfo Delgado, but he's solid. How do you feel about Inoue against Tapales? According to interviews in Japan, Inoue wanted to go physical in the fight because he couldn't do that to Folan. That's maybe why he was getting hit a lot. I talked about it earlier. I thought Inoue fought the fight he needed to fight. I appreciated the performance a lot more when I watched it back the second time because when I watched it the first time, I was like, man, Tapales is having some good moments, right? So guys like Inoue, guys like Crawford, guys like Floyd, they set such a high standard for themselves that when their opponents do anything good, you almost want to give them the rounds. You almost want to try to give them the rounds. And that's kind of what I did for Tapales. I gave him 3 rounds when they fought. then when I watched it back, I wound up only giving Marlon 1 round. But good for him. He was able to be physical in this fight. He was able to show good boxing skills. He was able to show his boxing IQ. And shout out to the monster, man. 2024 for Inoue, I think, is going to be a year where, like, apart from the Neri fight, like, he's going to be in a bunch of fights that I really don't care much for, like him versus Casemiro. Like, I'm going to cover all these fights because, I mean, I got to for the boxing fans. But personally, like, I don't really care too much for, like, him versus Casemiro. I don't think Merjan deserves a shot against him. So 2024 might be a year for Inoue where things maybe they slow down a little bit. And that's okay because for fighters, not every year can be like a banner year, So there's going to be some years that are slower than others. And I think 2024 will be at that year for Inoue where things are a little slower for him, but he's still going to be in some good events. Not great fights, but great events. And then if he's able to remain undefeated through those fights, that sets up what's going to be probably the most exciting year of his career in 2025 when he finally moves up to the featherweight division, which is what I'm waiting for. And this whole year, right? This whole year, 2024 coming up, I feel is going to be the year of the featherweight division because there's some great fights that are scheduled to happen in the featherweight division, and great potential matchups, and they're all going to be fighting to be in position for Inoue when he does move up because they want that payday. Another guy I was telling you about earlier who I'm high on is Eduardo Sugar Nunez. Weak resume. Hopefully a network will pick up his fight against Rakhimov in February and in Tajikistan. Yeah, as far as Eduardo Sugar Nunez, man, you've been mentioning him a lot. I can't remember what card he fought on. I saw him fight once, but I don't remember a whole lot. So you know what, David, this for you, my friend. I'm gonna put Eduardo Sugar Nunez in my notes. We're gonna put him in my notes, and let me tell you something. Once I put an idea in my notes, the video gets done at some point. So I'm gonna go to do my homework on Eduardo Sugar Nunez, and then I'll have a better assessment for you of him. BT, can you do the senior talking to Bob Arum impression, please? The TO senior. He's like, yeah, Bob. He's like, yeah, Bob. Bob, you talk a lot of shit about my son, bro. My son, he's the best boxer in the world. Gordo, the slick boxer, Gordo. They can't beat him. They can't beat my son. So, Bob, when are you gonna put my son against Devin Haney? He doesn't want to fight us, bro. And then Bob's gonna be like, well, Bob's gonna be like, Teofimo Lopez is a great fighter, but senior, your son keeps pricing himself out. I'm sorry, I can't right now. I can't. You put me on the spot, but that's the best I can do right now. Those next Inoue fights are gonna be for personal reasons. He's gonna avenge Yamanaka and shut up the Casemiro fans. Yeah, but like, well, come on, man. Like, what Casemiro? I mean, I know Casemiro has fans online, but like, really? Come on, man. Like, that fight's so played out. Like, you might as well just go fight someone like in 15. Yeah. In fact, honestly, you know what? I'm gonna give you guys the raw and uncut. I'm gonna give you all the raw and uncut Bob Arum impression. Do y'all want the Bob Arum raw and uncut impression? Because I have this joke, and I can't believe I'm about to say this joke on a live because I know we only say this between me and my friends, but I'll tell you guys because I consider you guys my friends. Because I joke around, like I'll joke around a lot, and I'll say like, a lot of times these top ranked fighters like Joet Gonzalez, they keep getting title shots, and I kind of think to myself like, how do these guys keep getting title shots? So I'll say this is Bob Arum in the office. This is Bob Arum in the office when fighters want to get a title shot. So this is Bob Arum in the office, right? So Bob like this, he's like, so I hear that you want to get a title shot. Is that correct, Mr. Joet? And then they'll nod their head and they'll say yes. And then Bob will say, if you want a title shot for Top Rank Incorporated, you got to do one thing for me. Close that door. Close those blinds. Get on your knees and suck my... And y'all know the rest. That's how they get title shots. That's how these guys keep getting title shots. That's the truth. That's how I be feeling sometimes. That's how it feels. I don't know how some of these guys on Top Rank keep getting title shots, but that's a Bob. That's a Bob's got to be telling them respectfully. He's like, if you really want this title shot, if you really want to fight for the WBO belt, get on your knees, pucker up, open up. Y'all know the rest. Anyway, I'm gonna stop, man, because y'all might get True School. Y'all might get True School Unfiltered. I don't know if y'all ready for True School Unfiltered. I might need to start a Rumble channel so I could really be True School Unfiltered, but because YouTube be on some BS. He says unsubsidized. Yeah, absolutely. Bob Arum loved you, BT. No, Bob Arum, no, absolutely not. I'm not cool. I'm not cool with these promoters. I don't know them. I like, no, absolutely not. We don't know these guys. Nah, it's a joke, man. It's a joke. I'm not accusing nobody of anything. It's just sometimes I have to sit there and ask myself, how on God's green earth do some fighters keep getting title shots? Because some of them really are unwarranted. So, you hear a lot of times things like, I've heard people say like the boxing industry can be like the music industry. So if it is like the music industry, then shit, then nothing's off limits. Truth be told. Hyro says, PBC is the promotion of the year. All your biggest fight coverage with PBC. Inoue versus Fulton was Ohashi Promotions, not PBC wasn't the lead promoter, Hyro. It was Ohashi Promotions. In fact, PBC had almost nothing to do with Inoue Fulton, to be honest. No matter what you or Sean Gibbons says, because it wasn't even on Showtime. At least Luis Neri can actually punch. And speaking of Casemiro fight, I think that fight might not happen since Japanese fans want Inoue to ignore him for now. Hopefully, listen, for the Japanese out there, for the ones that can understand me, please continue to ignore Casemiro, because that fight don't make no sense no more. Like it now, if a Casemiro can beat a guy top of the ranking, something like that, then that'd be all right. I really hope we see a Figueroa Fulton rematch of featherweight in 2024. What are the odds of that happening after Fulton's loss? I don't know, man. I saw a tweet yesterday, and you know what? We'll go to screen share because I want to show you guys. I saw a tweet yesterday, and Stephen Fulton had actually kind of hinted that he might be going up to 130, so you might not even get Stephen Fulton at featherweight. Look, I'm going to show you guys something. Look. I want to show you guys this. By the way, shout out to everyone here. It's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. Let's see. Stephen Fulton. Cool boy. All right. So look, watch. He tweeted this yesterday. I saw it. He tweeted this yesterday. He said 126 to 130. So he hasn't even fought at 26, and he's already talking about going to 130. So I don't know. If he goes to 130, that might lessen the chances of him versus Figueroa, because Figueroa is obviously a 26-pounder, and Figueroa, he's scheduled to fight. He's supposed to fight Ray Vargas, but there's still no date on that yet. Let me see. Yeah, that's a good fight. Fulton versus Tapales would be great to see who was the better of the two guys Inoue beat in 2023. And look, you know what? You guys keep talking about Abdul Wahid, because now all of a sudden, Gervonta Davis, he's done the whole Cassius Clay, Chris Jackson thing where he comes to Islam and changes his name, because Chris Jackson in the NBA, he became Muhammad Abdul Rauf, and then Cassius Clay became Muhammad Ali, obviously. So it's crazy, God bless him. Look, I'm a Christian, so I'm not here to judge nobody's faith or whatnot. However he finds peace in life, that's how he finds peace in life. But it is kind of crazy, because we did always say like Gervonta Davis kind of is like Mike Tyson, and now he's really trying to be like Mike Tyson all the way. LOL, who is Fulton ducking at 126? I mean, listen, if I want to be biased, I'm gonna say he's ducking the Angelo Leo rematch. Yeah, he don't want that smoke. He's ducking Odebek Komatov. He's ducking Rafael Espinoza. He's ducking Brandon Figueroa. I mean, there's a lot of guys you could. If he's not gonna fight at 26, I mean, fill in the blank. Whoever's at 126, if he doesn't fight him, you could say he's ducking them. But we'll see how it goes. I like Fulton. Hopefully they'll translate this video and go viral, just like Showbiz, who apparently went viral in Japan news. I've gone viral in Japan a couple times. I've had a couple of these like Japanese channels with like 100,000, 200,000 subscribers take my interviews and translate them in Japanese, and I think it's pretty cool. You know, I love the Japanese, man. I had a great experience when I went to Japan in May. I had a life-changing experience, and I'm looking very forward to going back there next year. I'm already making my arrangements. I do got to start talking to some people that I met, some of the Japanese representatives from Shisei Boxing and Tekken Promotions, about setting some interviews up there, and hopefully, you know, God willing, if the Lord allows it to happen, maybe I finally get the Inoue interview, right? You know, be great. But yeah, man, drop your questions down below. Right now, we got through what we needed to get through, so I'm chilling now. So whatever y'all want to ask me, boxing, non-box related, let fire away. We'll go like 10 more minutes. I, for the life of me, can't understand why Ramos didn't go for the KO against Lubin. That makes me afraid to bet on Virgil by KO. I'm afraid Virgil might do the same thing. The thing is, man, they robbed that man so bad. Like Jesus Ramos beat Eric Lubin so conclusively. And let me see. Is that the robbery of the year? It's like that's either the robbery of the year or George Kambosos versus Maxie Hughes. That was a pretty bad robbery. So I don't think that will play out against Lawson, because Lawson's not like that level of fighter. They picked him for a reason, and you'll see why on the 7th. What was the best Japanese food you ate while you're out there? My favorite Japanese food that I had while I was out there, it's I don't know if this is the actual term for it, but Japanese pork roast. I had like this Japanese pork roast when I was out there. Japanese pork roast with melon soda. That was my favorite like thing I had while I was there. That, and then they had this like ice cream milkshake thing in a pouch. I can't explain it, but it was like the it's called Coolish. That's my favorite Japanese snack. And then my favorite candy was this candy called Candamania. It's a sour candy in Japan. It's great stuff. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm supposed to talk to Sean Tatel soon, because that's a good friend of mine. Like that's like one of my best friends in the world, not just boxing, but in the world. So we normally talk like 2 or 3 times a month, normally for like a couple hours, about boxing, about life. And me and him have discussed how hard it is to get an Inoue interview. So when I heard that he interviewed Inoue the way they did, it's kind of crazy. So I look forward to hearing about how he got it. You know, maybe it might help me out. You know. Why do you never ride for Jesus Ramos? That dude is levels above Eric Tudor. Jairo, I do like Jesus Ramos, good fighter, but Eric Tudor is from South Florida, and since you brought him up, Eric Tudor will be back January 27th on the Munguia versus John Ryder undercard. Yeah, first fight since the loss of Jose Luis Sanchez. He'll be back, and I still think Eric Tudor will be a big factor in the 154 division when it's all said and done. Don't you worry about that. Corey Lee Boxing, shout out to my guy. Corey Lee Boxing, good to see you. Chevy says, I'm glad I caught this live stream. I'm glad you're here. Just here. Right now, I'm here just waffling about now, because I pretty much ran through what I need to run through. So we're freestyling now. You got any questions? Let me know down below. You know, after this live is done, I gotta go reach out to a couple fighters for some interviews, because I gotta keep giving you guys those world-class interviews. Hara, you out here asking inappropriate questions. I heard Japan is pretty crowded now with foreign travelers, as yen is cheap right now. I don't know about right now, but I know when I went, I mean, it was pretty packed. I thought it was pretty packed, because I went to all the tourist spots. I went to like a lot of different cities and stuff, and it seemed packed to me. But I don't know. I don't know any better. It was my first time there, so yeah, yen. I mean, the dollar converts pretty well over there in Japan, so. You know, I didn't go there with like a ton of money, but I felt rich. I felt rich at time when I was in Japan. It was crazy. I told you how powerful Inoue was years ago. Was I wrong that he will beat Donaire worse in the rematch? Inoue, Crawford, Beterbiev, Usyk, best boxer right now. Beterbiev is a different animal. Yeah, man. For sure. I mean, yeah, I do remember that you were one of the guys that you were vouching for Inoue. I mean, as was I. I mean, I was vouching for Inoue as early as 2016. Um, but yeah, those are all great fighters. Crawford, great boxer puncher. Usyk, great skill boxer. Artur Beterbiev, just a straight demolition job. Artur Beterbiev don't even do knockouts. He does demolition jobs on fighters. So I like Beterbiev a lot in that fight against Bivol, man. I think people just think Beterbiev's this fighter with no skills. But nah, he's an elite boxer too. He's just a different beast. So yeah, I agree with you. Do you think Moten versus Inoue is going to be a big fight? I don't think Carell Moten and Inoue are ever going to fight, to be honest with you. I think Floyd knows deep down those two are never going to fight. And they're using Inoue and the clout he has right now in boxing because right now it's his moment in time. Every fighter has a peak in popularity, and Floyd understands that. So he's using Inoue's peak in popularity to increase his fighter's popularity. And fair play to him, it's working because like we're sitting here talking about him. So, a pack of cigarettes in Japan, yeah, I mean it's cheap. I mean, I went to the supermarket. I was eating like crazy in Japan. I couldn't stop eating because, you know, the food was so cheap. I had so much. The American dollar converts very well over there. Who put that sick rumor of Bivol versus Opataya out next? It's not a rumor. It's actually something. It's a fight that the Saudis, Turkey Al Sheikh, and the head of sport out there wants to make. Personally, I wouldn't mind it. I mean, Bivol or Opataya is not going to get the big fights at cruiserweight, right? And I'll like to see Bivol how would Bivol do against a naturally bigger, younger, guy. Could he find a way to win? Is he that level of great? I think it'd be a cool fight if he can get past Beterbiev. I've been saying Beterbiev, Usyk, and Inoue are on a different level. I've been saying this for 4 years straight. People just finally giving credit. Absolutely, yeah. I've always been high on Inoue since 2016. Usyk, I've been high on Usyk since 2017. And Beterbiev, I've been high on him probably since like 2019, 2018. No, I'll say 2019. After the Gvozdyk fight, that was the fight that really changed, that really made me all in on Beterbiev. But all great fighters. Yeah, they're gonna see. They're gonna find out. They're gonna find out in a really, really crazy way when they fight. Bivol is a great skilled boxer, and he definitely has tools to maybe outbox Beterbiev for a period of time. But nah, it's not. As far as at some point, Beterbiev is gonna cut that ring off and make him fight. Is Elijah Pierce a good fast hands puncher? He looks kind of a bit slow. He's explosive. He's very explosive. I wouldn't say he's not like I don't think he's the fastest 122 pounder, but he's got good footwork and he's very explosive. And he's getting better. He's improving with time, I think. Oh my God, that's the best. That's probably the one thing. That's one of the top 3 things I miss about Japan. Just being there is the vending machines. You could be walking anywhere in the damn country, and there's a vending machine somewhere with different types of drinks and different types of snacks. That's the coolest thing. When are you gonna make a video about Bam Rodriguez versus Sonny Edwards losing so much money? Where are the financials? Who do you think is the best at 126 at the moment? There really is no clear-cut guy at 126. I mean, I think there's a lot of guys I like at 26. Nobody separated themselves. Now, I can tell you who I think. I can tell you the 2 guys. I'll tell you the 2 fighters who I think are going to be the best featherweights before Inoue gets there. The 2 guys I think will be the best featherweights before Inoue gets there are going to be Otabek Komatov and Angelo Leo. Those are the 2 guys I'm the highest on. And then outside of those guys, I like Espinoza and I like Bruce Carrington. Those are the 4 guys I like at featherweight. Angelo Leo, Komatov, Bruce Carrington, Rafael Espinoza. Those are the 4 I like. But they all got to fight each other and sort that out. Right now, featherweight, nobody's really sorted anything out, so it's hard to say. I like what I've seen from Bam Bam, but I think he should take his time moving up. Yeah. Well, he's at 15 now. So no, he's at 112. I think look, he's got Bam Rodriguez is in a blessed position because he's got a great team behind him. Got a great boxing mind, trainer and manager, and Robert Garcia. So they're not going to have him take fights he's not ready for. I think Bam is going to be a good fighter at 15. I think he'll be at super flyweight again, looking for the biggest, baddest, and best names there. And I'm hoping if Kosai Tanaka picks up that WBO title in February because he's fighting for it, then I would like to see Bam fight Kosai Tanaka for the WBO title. That's a fight that would interest me. BT, who would you match Elijah Garcia with first fight in 2024? Oh, that's a good question. It's a good question. Let's see. Let's look at the rankings. Because Elijah Garcia had a great year. It was a year where he really burst onto the scene in a great and major way. But let's see. Elijah Garcia is number 3 in the WBC, number 2 in the WBA. I would like Elijah Garcia versus either Chris Eubanks Jr., Ammo Williams, or Hamza Shiraz. Those are all guys he's ranked in and around. I think any one of those fights would be good. Hyro says, I'm the same age as Sonny Edwards, and I'm bigger than his ass. Why don't you fight him? Let's see how that goes. But do you think that my agreement with PBC is legitimate? I do think the quality of fights will dwindle. Gary Anton Russell barely fights. The only reason I even remembered that Gary Anton Russell existed is because I saw Gary Russell Jr. in person like a couple weeks ago. Other than that, I would have forgot about Gary Anton Russell. It's crazy. Like, they got some talent there, but they just don't keep them active. And it's like, and then you wonder why. And then people wonder why when they cross the street, all their fighters get their ass whooped because they don't fight enough. Lee Wood or Bruce Carrington for me. Espinosa's kind of weak chin like Obasi. Yeah, but Espinosa, you gotta understand that was his first fight at that level when he rose to the occasion. I think Espinosa will learn a lot from that fight, and he's gonna really develop. I'm big. Espinosa showed me a lot in that fight, because he's not just a reckless come forward Mexican. He's got something. He's got his wits about him. He's got a nice jab. He's got a great gas tank. I think he'll get better, and he's big for the weight class. The only question for Espinosa is how long can he make the featherweight limit? That's really the only question I have about him. But yeah, man. I think on that note, guys, look, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Let me see. Any other questions? Dude's been injured every year. Talking about Beterbiev? I mean, yeah, but every time he fights, every time he's in that ring, Hyro, what happens? And it's crazy because Hyro, you used to like Beterbiev. Now you don't like him. Now you like Bivol. It's crazy how that works. You used to like Bivol and shit on Beterbiev. Now you're shitting on Beterbiev. Now you like Bivol. Which one is it? Boots Ennis is gonna fight Robert Guerrero. I'm gonna say it straight like this: if Boots Ennis fights the Ghost, and I'm not talking about Frank Martin, I'm talking about Robert Guerrero, I'm gonna have a lot to say. I don't want to hear nothing about, they don't want to fight Boots. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that bullshit. You're better off not fighting than fighting Robert Guerrero. Robert Guerrero doesn't. If you're gonna fight Robert Guerrero, then you might as well fight Trayshawn Wiggins, who wants to fight you. Yeah, no, in that fight. I've gone back and forth on that fight for years, but I'm getting to that point now where I just think Bivol is a great boxer, but Beterbiev's conditioning, his punching power, and even his boxing skill is going to surprise people. I think it's going to be Beterbiev. Hyro said, it's because you started riding Beterbiev hard lately. What are you talking about? Hyro, I literally spent hundreds of dollars to go to New York City to watch him fight last summer. I've been talking about Beterbiev. Where you been at? What are you talking about? I went to go watch him fight Joe Smith in New York with my dad last year. I took my dad for Father's Day to New York City to watch Beterbiev fight last year. What are you talking about? This man says, LOL, shut up with the Angelo Leo shit. Absolutely not. I'm not gonna shut up about, and you're gonna see. People don't like when I bring that name up at 126, but the reality is he's in the rankings. He's one of the best fighters out there. And if you think you're saying it's because it's because he's my friend, Nonito Donaire, who he has no reason to be biased. He told you guys when I interviewed him, Angelo stopped Donaire and sparring with a body shot. He's the only guy to stop Donaire and sparring with a body shot. Obviously, sparring is another fight, but he told you about Angelo. So don't forget me. The Hall of Famer told you about Angelo. But look, just hopefully, in a way, keep winning his fights. Hopefully, he don't lose to Neri or Goodman or none of these dudes that he's gonna fight. Angelo got a fight coming up on the 24th. I don't know against who yet, but he'll be fighting on the 24th of January. Hopefully, he do what he got to do, and we'll see down the road. I think stylistically, it's a good fight for him. Angelo's fighting January 24th, but I don't know who the opponent is. I've literally heard 3 different opponents. I'm not gonna say the names because I'm not allowed to say the names, but like they started off with one name, then they went to another name. Now they're at a completely different name. It's literally been like 3 different opponents. Pro Box said it was gonna be one guy, then they said it was another guy. Now they're saying it's another guy. He doesn't even know. Like honestly, I just talked to him today about it. He doesn't even know himself because they started off with one guy. When his fight gets announced, I'll let you guys know what name they started with and then who was the second opponent, who was the third. But one of the guys that they were saying he was gonna fight was an ex Naoya Inoue opponent. I'm not gonna say who, but he's a guy who's fought Naoya Inoue in the last 5 years. That's all I can say. So we'll see what happens. And you know what? I'm gonna say it like this: anytime people like Osborne, and I really hope that's not your picture, man. I hope that's not what you look like because God bless you, that is. But the more people like you tell me to stop talking about Angelo, I'm gonna talk about him more. So thank you. I'm gonna keep doing it. It wasn't Paul. It wasn't Paul Butler, but I'm not gonna. It wasn't somebody that bad, but it was somebody he fought. I'll let you when he announces this fight. I'll give you guys the whole story, but I just can't right now because then Pro Box might come after me, and we can't have that. We got to keep a good rapport with the fine folks at Pro Box. Let me see. Y'all got any questions? Let me see. Spellbot says, Inoue said he'll be more tactical in the future than go for knockouts to avoid further injuries. How do you feel about that? I feel like that's well and good now against the guys at 122, but the guys at 126 that are more physical, that can punch harder, that do have angles, I think are going to force him to fight in a different way than he'd want. Than he's saying in your statement. BT, before you forget, just remember to what? Have you had a chance to watch Kevin? No, I haven't yet. I just know that he's French, and I know that they want to make him versus Christian and Billy. So I've heard some good things about him. There's just so many fighters in boxing, guys. Like so many fighters in boxing, and I'm only one man, so these guys gotta really. I always tell these fighters, man, like make an impression, like do something that forces me to have to watch you, like, because if not, I'm gonna get to you when I get to you. BT, I'll meet you in the summer of 2025. Yeah, whatever. You're ducking me. Do you think Muratai will be champion? Yeah, I think he's definitely got championship potential. Muratai is really good, man. I think that might be. I mean, I know Robert Garcia's got Bam, but after Bam, that's probably his best fighter, I think. Is Junto Nakatani KO of the year against Maloney? That's tough, man. It's probably the front runner. I have to really sit down and think about that because there's been a lot of good knockouts this year. But I'd probably say that's the front runner. He's a mag truck. Yes, him and Billy would be a great fight. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not often you got 2 French boxers or even 1 French boxer. They got 2 French boxers ranked, in a position to do something in boxing. So that could be a good fight to elevate French boxing if French boxing is even a thing. Because Tony Oka was supposed to elevate French boxing, and then Tony Oka started losing and getting exposed by everybody. So let them do it. Let them elevate French boxing. Yeah, Murataya versus Keyshawn Davis. That's a fight I want to see in the future because, Murataya is really confident. He's saying already that he feels he's on a different level than to a guy like Keyshawn Davis. So, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully they don't waste no time making that fight happen. I want to see Beck the Bully versus Morrell. I mean, it's a good little fight, but I wouldn't be excited about that, to be honest. I got up. You got any updates on Subaru Murata new fights? No. He got injured. He was supposed to fight at Corkin Hall about a month ago. He got an injury on, I think, on his left hand or one of his hands. He injured one of his hands in training, so they had to postpone the fight. But at the moment, there's no fights for Subaru at the moment. No, not at all. Oh, Murataya? Why do you say he's chinny? How is he retired, Harold? He never. Jared Bryan never said he's retired. Where did he say that? Because I never saw him say anything about being retired. Can Jericho O'Quinn beat Peter McGrail again? I think he can, but I would really hate to see them do that rematch in the UK, because I know Eddie Hearn wants to do that rematch in the UK. Harold wants to know, BT, are you going to the first show on PBC on Amazon Prime? It all depends on who's fighting. If it's going to be a bum, if it's going to be a bum bash, and if it's going to be a bum bash and it's going to be like, not competitive boxing, then there's no point in me leaving the friendly confines of the beautiful, sunny South Florida where the grass is green and the girls are the prettiest to go watch Al Haymon fighters be in mismatches, Speaking of chins, is Inoue granted chin to you? He took power shots and is still standing, didn't buckle at all. No, he's actually got I think Inoue has an underrated chin. People don't like to talk about his chin because they get so enamored with the speed and the punching power and the boxing ability. But I think, look at the two guys that hit him, Flush, Donaire, and Tapales. Those are two of the biggest punchers around that weight, and he never got dropped by either of them. So yeah, there is something to be said about his chin. Have you ever seen Canelo fight live? Yes, I saw Canelo fight live against Billy Joe Saunders. I went to that fight, and I also saw Canelo in person, and I yelled at his ass on New Year's Day of 2022 to fight Demetrius Andrade. He didn't like that. He told me Andrade was a horrible boxer. So yeah, but you go to a one-sided Inoue fight. What Inoue fight? I've never seen Inoue fight live, Howard. What Inoue fight did I ever see live? Japanese people are rumoring Inoue's real good opponent may be in Japan. That is Junta Nagatani. Inoue said he'd stay in 122. Well, look, that could be a big super fight. A lot of people, I've heard some people say that they think Junta Nakatani is already the second best Japanese boxer in the sport, which I don't agree with right now. I think he needs to do a little more to earn that position, but he's getting a lot of hype, and that obviously be a big explosive fight for the country. I thought Tapales might pull the upset because of the eye injury that Donaire gave him in the first fight. I didn't think that, but Marlon definitely did some really good things in the ring, and I think Marlon is a fighter who people are going to be looking more out for when he fights next. So good for him. Good for him. But listen, guys, I think on that note, I'm gonna start wrapping it up because I gotta relax. I got some things. I just want to relax. I've been busting my ass with this content all day today. But listen, appreciate you guys for showing up to the live. This might be my last live for the year. So if I don't see you guys live for the rest of this calendar year, then let me just say this. This year, guys, has been such a pleasure. Like, it's been such a pleasure. I've had so much fun covering the sport with and for you guys this year. And 2024 is going to be such an amazing year. Like, we're going to be doing a lot of traveling in 2024. I'm talking like I'm going to Japan. I'm going to Saudi. I'm going all over the United States of America for fights. Like, it's going to be something special this 2024. And I just hope you guys continue to support what we got going on here on True School Sports. And I'm going to continue to improve the channel as much as I can and give you guys great interviews. But yeah, man, like, I've been through so much this damn year with like losing friends and people that, really played a big role in my journey covering boxing and in my life. So a lot of times me covering boxing has been a real big escape from just a lot of trauma and pain I felt this year. So I'm really grateful for you guys. You guys, I know I do a lot for people because a lot of people say my content does a lot for them, but you guys do a lot for me. So I'm just really appreciative for everyone that does come and watch, even the ones who leave comments that aren't so good. So thank you guys. But Hannah Street says, BT, before you leave, can you discuss the best fights coming up next year? before I leave, the best. I mean, Bitter BF Smith. That's the next one I'm looking forward to, January 13th. I mean, I'll be live with Sean Zattel on Fight Hype probably on Saturday, so we'll discuss some of that there. But listen, it's been a great 2023. Continue to watch all the content that will come out because there's a lot of videos that I made, a lot of shorts coming out, a lot of videos already been posted. So yeah, keep supporting me, keep making this helping me make this place the home of boxing, real hardcore, great boxing talk, and I'll see you guys when I see you guys, and God bless everybody. Make sure you guys are safe for the new year's with your families and your friends, because you know, a lot of times on New Year's Eve it could get very dangerous out there. So just yeah, look after yourselves, your family, and your loved ones, and I'll see you guys next year. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just Kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.